Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I think we might be a little low now on the... Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and call our meeting back to order. We'll begin with a roll call from our city clerk, Kathy Valdez.
The record shall reflect that all members are present.
Our city attorney will bring us out of closed session.
The city council took no reportable action in closed session today.
Councilmember Green will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
Please stand. Put your hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our city clerk, Kathy Valdez, has some procedural items to cover.
Thank you, Mayor. In accordance with the Brown Act, I'd like to announce that as a result of convening simultaneous meetings, the members of the Buena Sanitation District will receive compensation of $147.75 for the district meeting pursuant to Buena Sanitation District Ordinance 2006-1. I would like to remind everyone that the Vista Municipal Code requires members of the public to observe order and decorum at the meeting and to conduct themselves in a courteous manner. The ordinance was adopted to allow for public input and to facilitate city business without disruption in the meeting. Applause is appropriate for items listed under the presentation of the portion of the agenda only. Thank you.
To speak on an item on tonight's agenda, please fill out the speaker slip, and with the number of the item you'd like to speak on and give it to the clerk, secretary, staff. Speaker slips are available on the table just outside of the council chambers. For members of the public that are participating via Zoom, you may use the raise your hand feature to indicate you'd like to speak, or by pressing *9 on your touchtone phone. We will announce when to raise your hand to indicate you'd like to make a comment on the specific item being discussed. Speakers will have 3 minutes to address the council. And then we'll go to our city manager, John Connolly, for approval of tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. No changes.
Okay. We have 5 presentations this evening, and I'd like to invite my fellow council members to join me at the lectern for these presentations. Our first presentation this evening is a proclamation commending Fire Captain Frank Wirtz, Fire Engineer Mike Romeo, Firefighter Paramedic Brian McDonald, and Sheriff Deputy Caleb Barr as heroes for their extraordinary heroism and steadfast commitment to public service. Would you come down while we present you with these proclamations? Thank you very much. I think we got 3 copies of the same here. Let's see. Was Deputy Barr here tonight? Okay, very good. That's fine. We'll catch him when he gets in here. There he is. Deputy Barr? Yeah. That's a good reception when you come in the room, right? Okay, and our proclamation reads, whereas Fire Captain Frank Wirtz, Fire Engineer Mike Romeo, is it Romeo or Romeo? Romeo? Okay, good. And Deputy Caleb Barr, and firefighter paramedic Brian McDonald and the Vista Fire Department have demonstrated exemplary courage, dedication, and professionalism in the line of duty. And whereas on April 16, 2024, at 5:41 p.m., Captain Wirtz, Engineer Romeo, and firefighter paramedic McDonald responded to a fully involved residential structure on Eucalyptus Avenue with explosions occurring in the garage and a downed electrical wire arcing in the middle of the street. Whereas Captain Wirtz, while directing fire suppression efforts, immediately identified the electrical life hazard, assigned a deputy to monitor the downed wire, and established an exclusion zone around it, ensuring the safety of both the public and fire suppression personnel. Whereas Sheriff's Deputy Caleb Barr was instrumental in providing a secure perimeter for the public and maintaining a safe area around the downed electrical wires until SDG&E could secure them, thereby playing a crucial role in the overall safety and coordination during this critical incident. Whereas Captain Wirtz's quick thinking and decisive actions in the face of this hazardous situation undoubtedly prevented further escalation of the danger while simultaneously coordinating the initial attack on the fire, and where Engineer Romeo and firefighter paramedic McDonald played crucial roles in the fire suppression efforts, demonstrating exceptional teamwork and commitment to public safety, and whereas the combined efforts of Captain Wirtz, Engineer Romeo, firefighter paramedic McDonald, and Sheriff's Deputy Barr ensured the safety and well-being of the community during this critical incident, reflecting the highest standards of service and dedication. And whereas it is fitting and proper to recognize and honor Captain Frank Wirtz, Fire Engineer Mike Romeo, firefighter paramedic Brian McDonald, and Sheriff's Deputy Caleb Barr as true heroes of our community, whose bravery, commitment to exceptional service inspire us all. Now, therefore, I and the members of the Vista City Council do hereby proclaim and commend Fire Captain Frank Wirtz, Fire Engineer Mike Romeo, firefighter paramedic Brian McDonald, and Sheriff's Deputy Caleb Barr as heroes for their extraordinary heroism and steadfast commitment to public service. Their selfless actions and remarkable contributions have made them shining examples of courage, dedication, and integrity.
I'm glad I didn't do anything inappropriate.
Will you take a picture with us, gentlemen?
I swear, you guys are the same. Your heads are almost identical from behind.
To the front.
I would like to present a proclamation commending Deputy Brett Fuller and Deputy Jason Malson as heroes for their extraordinary heroism and steadfast commitment to public service. I'd like to invite Deputy Fuller and Deputy Malson to come forward, please. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes.
Close enough? How do you say it? Malson. Okay. Thank you. Whereas Deputy Brett Fuller and Deputy Jason Malson of the San Diego County Deputy Sheriff's Department stand as exemplary figures of dedication, professionalism, and commitment to the safety and well-being of the Vista community. And whereas Deputy Brett Fuller began his career with the San Diego County Sheriff's Department in 2010, initially serving as a corrections deputy at the Sheriff's Central Jail before transitioning to the Sheriff's North Coastal Station as a patrol deputy in 2018, and ultimately finding his passion as a motorcycle enforcement deputy at the Sheriff's Vista Station traffic unit until in 2022. Whereas Deputy Fuller has demonstrated unparalleled dedication as a motor deputy, tirelessly patrolling the streets of Vista in all weather conditions and making an unmatched impact by issuing an astounding 3,261 citations. That is impressive. Thereby significantly enhancing traffic safety and protecting residents from the dangers of traffic violations. And whereas Deputy Jason Malson began his career with the San Diego County Sheriff's Department in 2012, serving at the Sheriff's Vista Station and discovering his passion for removing dangerous DUI drivers from the streets when he joined the traffic unit in 2015. Whereas Deputy Malson has tirelessly worked to safeguard the community from the perils of impaired driving, consistently making more DUI arrests than any other deputy in the department, and earning the prestigious Mothers Against Drunk Driving Century Award for four consecutive years, with an extraordinary total of 419 DUI arrests since 2020. Whereas the relentless efforts of Deputies Fuller and Malson have not only prevented numerous traffic violations and DUI incidents, but have also preserved countless lives and property, contributing significantly to the safety and security of Vista. Whereas the professionalism, exemplary character, and unwavering dedication of Deputies Fuller and Malson reflect the highest standards of public service, bringing honor and distinction to the City of Vista and the San Diego County Sheriff's Department. And whereas it is fitting and proper to recognize and honor Deputies Brett Fuller and Jason Malson as true heroes of our community, whose courage, commitment, and exceptional service inspire us all. Now, therefore, I and the members of the Vista City Council do hereby proclaim and commend Deputy Brett Fuller and Deputy Jason Malson as heroes for their extraordinary heroism and steadfast commitment to public service. Their selfless actions and remarkable contributions have made them shining examples of courage, dedication, and integrity.
Some stuff.
Trade you, and I'll ask your help with these. Okay. Our next proclamation is one declaring June 12, 2024 as Rancho Buena Vista High School Longhorn Boys Soccer Day in the city of Vista. I want to invite our team members and coaches to please come forward.
Let's go, soccer team. Come on down.
Come on. Come on, Longhorns.
Congratulations. Which one you've been scoring goals and stuff? What's up? Who's blocking the goals? Congratulations. Hey. Yeah, where's Hildreth? What's up? Is he supposed to be like protecting the net or whatever? Come on. Thank you so much. Bro, you get these for all the rest of your team too. Okay?
All right. All right. Whereas Rancho Buena Vista High School Longhorn boys soccer team extended their regular season success and the team won the Avocado League championship with an 8-1-1 record. All right. Whereas this is the first Longhorn boys soccer team league championship at Rancho Buena Vista High School since 2013. And whereas the Longhorn boys soccer team was the number 3 seed in Division II for the playoffs and the team lost the quarterfinals with a thrilling match against Scripps Ranch, whereas this is the most winning team in Longhorn school history for the boys soccer team to date. Whereas we want to recognize the outstanding teamwork of players, Captain Gianluca, give me this one, Fajardo, Noah Balint. Did I get that right? Call it out if I say it wrong, all right? Let's see, Jonathan Carrasco, Brandon Ceballos, Lucas Choke, good. Let's see, Carter Conley, Jacob Garcia, Jaden Garcia, James Greeny, Noah Hildreth, Maddox Hopner, Jose Jimenez, Johnny Padron, Juan Paz, Miguel Ramirez, Jared Rivera, Javier Solano, Artem Sidorenko. Did I get that one right? Yeah? All right. Diego Torrico, Isaac Van Brocklin, Francis Velli, and whereas the Vista City Council congratulates the Rancho Buena Vista Longhorn boys soccer team on their record season, Avocado League championship, and CIF qualifier. The team's accomplishments represent their commitment and unwavering dedication to boys soccer and the Longhorn boys soccer team. Now, therefore, I and the members of the Vista City Council are proud of the Rancho Buena Vista High School Longhorn boys soccer team and wish them continued victories, and hereby proclaim Wednesday, June 12, as Rancho Buena Vista High School Longhorn Boys Soccer Day in the city of Vista. All right, now we want to make a proclamation declaring June 13th as Rancho Buena Vista High School Longhorn Boys Basketball Team Day in the city of Vista. Let's have our basketball players come on down. All right. Whereas Rancho Buena Vista High School Longhorn Boys Basketball Team is the first Longhorn Boys Basketball team to win a league championship since 2011, whereas the Longhorn Boys Basketball Team was the number one seed in Division II for the playoffs, The team came up short of our goal to win a CIF championship in division and finished as the Division II runner-up. And whereas the Longhorn boys basketball team lost against Bosco Tech on the road 87-83 in the first round of the Division III state championships, whereas we want to recognize all of the players and their outstanding teamwork and commitment to RBV and the boys basketball program. Captain Trent Lotito, Captain Shay Todd, Captain Matthew Horn, Captain CJ Aldrich III, Aiden Horn, Caden Keys, Isaiah Justice, Micah Boucher. Boucher or Boucher? Boucher. All right, very good. I'm like getting them all tonight. Ryder Knutson, Justian Richardson, Andrew Cupin. Oh, I missed one. Whereas the Vista City Council congratulates the Rancho Buena Vista Longhorn boys basketball on their successful 23-24 basketball season, CIF runners-up Avocado League championship, and state qualifier, the team's accomplishments represent their commitment and unwavering dedication to boys basketball and their high school team. Now, therefore, I and the members of the Vista City Council are proud of the RBV Vista High School Longhorn boys basketball team and wish them continued success, and hereby proclaim June 13th, 2024 as Rancho Buena Vista High School Longhorn boys basketball team in the city of Vista. Day in the city of Vista, June 13th. All right. Yeah.
Line up in the front.
Stand like prom. Hey, let's go. Hey, you guys, let's do prom hugs, everybody. It'll be better for the camera angle. You stand next to me. Where's the short guy? I'm the shortest guy here. Yeah, double up. Okay, see you back. I mean, yeah, like you guys. I'll stand on this. Come over here on your side. You guys block my. Look how skinny I am. This is good. You can't see my look at my leg. It's breaking from the left to right. Yeah, let's look at it. Come on, you guys want something? Let's go.
Man, Longhorns are crushing it. This is great. Our final proclamation is declaring June 14th, 2024 as Rancho Buena Vista High School Longhorn Girls Soccer Day in the city of Vista. Let's ask our soccer players to come on down. And our coaches. Coaches too. All right, good work. Good work. Congratulations to you. Good work. Well done. Good job. Congratulations. Good work. Well done. Good job, Coach. All right. Well done, Coach. Okay. Whereas the Rancho Buena Vista High School Longhorn girls soccer team extended their postseason success, and the team won the Avocado League championship with a 9-0-1 record. Whereas this is the first Longhorn girls soccer team league championship at RBV since 2010. Whereas the Longhorn girls soccer team was the #1 seed in Division III for the playoffs, and the team won the championship with a 1-0 win against the Central Spartans. Whereas this is the third CIF title in Longhorn school history for the girls soccer team. And by winning the CIF title, the Longhorn girls soccer team made the state qualifier. Whereas we want to recognize the outstanding teamwork of players Captain Amanda Myers, Captain Samantha Valdez, Captain Lillian Camacho, Haley Benito, Haley Ahmed, Lillian Camacho, Emily Camara, Yaneli Castaneria. Did I say that one right? Close enough. Roxy Caloris, Maggie Elliott, Megan Ferreira, Elsa Garcia Nguyen, Gianna Hartigan. I know I got that one wrong, right? Oh, okay, all right. Ela Hernandez, Allison Lambert, Samantha Lopez, Gabby Moreno, Larissa Nguyen, Izzy Nunez, Eileen Ochoa Castillo, Ella Pierce, Addie Rojas, Ari Ruiz, Kaylin Savage, Taylor Sheridan, Lily Tavares, Sammy Valdez, and Amelia Waldrop. And whereas the Vista City Council congratulates the RBV Longhorn girls soccer team on their CIF championship, Avocado League championship, and state qualifier, the team's accomplishments represent their commitment and unwavering dedication to girls soccer and their high school team. Now, therefore, I and the members of the Vista City Council and the City of Vista are proud of the Rancho Buena Vista High School Longhorn girls soccer team, and we wish them continued victories and hereby proclaim Friday, June 14, 2024, as the Rancho Buena Vista High School Longhorn Girls Soccer Day in the City of Vista.
Great job.
There you go. I'll say one more thing real quick. Before our deputies and our firefighters leave, I just want to say to each and every one of you, and before everybody leaves, just want to say thank you again. We know that every single day you're out there keeping us safe. Thank you. And to our student athletes and all of our coaches and parents for all the hours that you invested, thank you. And we hope you're back here to celebrate your victories again next year.
Deputy Mayor, use the restroom.
Oh, okay.
She'll be right back.
All right. Okay. That'll bring us to the oral communications opportunity. Any member of the public may address the City Council on agency-related matters not on the agenda by requesting to speak during this section. If you're participating via Zoom, please use the raise your hand feature or press *9 at this time if you'd like to speak. The number of speakers that will be heard during this segment is limited to 10. Any remaining speakers will be heard under the second oral communications item. We do have 5 members of the public that would like to speak under this portion of the oral communications opportunity. We'll start with Joe Hood, followed by Caroline Thies-Aird and Lana Leghart. If you heard your name called, would you please go ahead and come sit in the front row and be ready to speak when it is your turn. Mr. Hood, the floor is yours.
Congratulations to all of our wonderful sports and heroes, sports players. I'm aware that there's a petition circulating to take down the pride flag. This is my response. When we are separated and divided, we experience pain. Consider a child who has been rejected by his or her family, a divorced married couple, Israel and Hamas, Trump and his thousands and thousands of lies, all create pain. Spiritual iconographers have for millennia depicted healing in heaven using a mandorla, the almond-shaped intersection of 2 circles. Many artworks show the Madonna holding baby Jesus or Christ descending into heaven in a mandorla. Coming together is healing and holy. Those who want to remove the pride flag are proposing separation and pain. The LGBTQ plus community has been foolishly rejected and scorned for way too long, creating pain. I say, fly the pride flag with joy. When we learn to accept and fully embrace difference, we will be healing our community. We'll be creating a mandorla. Our founding fathers got it right when they said all are created equal. If other shunned groups want their turn at recognition, let them bring forth their healthy and accepting flag. There is room for everyone in heaven and in Vista.
Caroline Thies-Aird, followed by Lana Leghart, then followed by Michael Decker. Would you please go ahead and come forward?
Good evening. My name is Caroline Thies-Aird, and I'm here tonight to express my sincere gratitude to this City Council and support for your vote to display the pride flag. Beloved members of my family and many of my close friends are LGBT, and the rainbow flag is a visible symbol of welcome and acceptance in a time when those rights we all take for granted are under attack in a lot of places in this country. So from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you for demonstrating love instead of condemnation. And I just want to say it makes me really proud to be a Vistan. So thank you.
Lana Leghart, followed by Michael Decker, followed by Sid Rothenberg.
Happy Pride, y'all. I'm here in several capacities tonight, as a mom, as a resident, as a member of Palomar Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We believe very strongly in the rights of our LGBTQ family, friends, children. And specifically at Palomar Fellowship, we wanted to thank you for flying the flag. So we made some thank you cards that you can hang up in your office. May I approach and deliver them?
You can hand them to the clerk.
And we have some individual thank yous as well. And specifically, I want to call out the staff and the council members who are working on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in our city. We made, Albertsons made a cupcake cake out of the pride flag for all of you. And I would love to share it with Fred Tracy so he can get the first one. Thank you all so much.
Michael Decker, followed by Sid Rothenberg, followed by Peggy Walker on Zoom.
Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for hearing me. My name is Michael Decker. I live at 833 Arcadia Avenue, District 2. I've sent an email to Joe Green also. The tenant at 837 Arcadia Avenue, whose name is Bill, is actively killing the city tree in front of the house. He rents from Rick Ring, who I spoke to, and has also seen the condition of the tree and has acknowledged his tenant is actively killing the tree. Rick Ring was contacted by me on May 7th with 7 photos of the dead tree. Mr. Ring came to visit his tenant on April 10th and May 9th, and he actually said, "It's not my problem." The tenant has admitted to me and my wife he is killing the tree. He does it in broad daylight without concern for any circumstances. If any new growth shows on the tree, he carves it out with a carpet knife. He is using paint, tar, and has torched the tree. From photos, you can see the tree's dying and shrinking and has a crack down the middle. Not only is it unsightly and wrong, but also cruel to the tree and danger to pedestrians. My wife is disabled and can only take short walks, but we have to cross the street because the tree is unstable. I spoke with Yale Jeffrey on May 15th, 20th, 21st, and 30th, and he called to let me know the tree is dead. We own the property next door and have heard the other neighbors complain, but fear reprisal because this tenant is often hostile with bully mentality. It also makes the avenue look like a ghetto. He is not a property owner, and he does not pay taxes. Thank you.
Sid Rothenberg, followed by Peggy Walker on Zoom, followed by caller with the phone number ending in 7234.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and fellow council members. I didn't want to pull this item from the consent calendar, just to say thank you. And I also thank our city manager for putting the Gloria McClellan Senior Center foremost on the CIP with a nice dollar amount that will be successfully used to augment the facility and some of the items on the wish list that I'm sure the director is going to be happy to be able to purchase. So I'm just standing here to say thank you rather than pulling that item off the consent calendar.
Thank you. Now we'll go to Zoom. Peggy Walker, followed by the caller with the number ending 7234, and then we'll go to the caller simply labeled iPhone. Peggy Walker.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm here on behalf of a coalition of parents, educators, youth mentors, and medical professionals who believe widespread marijuana commercialization is making this misunderstood drug far too ubiquitous. This normalization, without full understanding of the consequences of ultra-high THC, concerns those working to protect young people aged 12 to 25. Data shows thousands of minors buy from dispensaries or wherever they can access pot, and many pay horrific consequences. 1 in 3 will suffer addiction, others IQ loss, anxiety, depression, cannabis hypermesis syndrome, psychosis, even suicide. I began studying marijuana when writing youth drug use prevention programs for public schools. I've learned from peer-reviewed scientific studies, media research, medical professionals, addiction doctors, and psychobiologists that this is a highly complex, understudied drug. Researchers say far greater clinical study is needed, that we've jumped the gun on permitting sales without fully understanding the consequences. I ask you to consider former Surgeon General Jerome Adams' call for an honest conversation regarding marijuana's risks. He warned, quote, "A society where individuals constantly self-medicate with a mind-altering substance is a health recipe for disaster." I share this with respect. and hope that you'll consider it as you consider marijuana business inspection and financial audit fees later. They cannot be high enough to compensate for harmful outcomes of permitting the sale of a poorly understood psychoactive drug. Years down the road, we may regret today's permissive policies, and I thank you for hearing my concerns.
Now we'll go to the caller with the phone number ending in 7234.
Good evening. This is City Council Mayor Franklin. My name is Terry Ann Skelly. I'm a mother of 3 adult sons, a community volunteer with youth programs, and I also work in public health education. Parents like me feel almost defenseless against the pot advertising and promotions that are a part of Vista's marijuana marketplace, especially when the research continues to come in linking these high-potency THC marijuana products to devastating effects on young adults' mental health. Several national parent groups are collecting and sharing their stories regarding the loss of their children. Young and vibrant lives ended by suicide after their descent into addiction through high-potency marijuana, vapes, and edibles. While rates of depression and anxiety have increased across age groups, children and youth are experiencing some of the greatest challenges. The California Department of Public Health noted last month that suicide is the second leading cause of death among adolescents and young adults aged 15 to 24. We feel that the risks of today's high-potency THC marijuana products and its effects on young adults' mental health are being overlooked. Hopefully, our City Council can be counted among those trusted adults and healthcare professionals who are concerned about the harmful effects of marijuana on our children, teenagers, and emerging adults. Please, City Council, no more marijuana businesses in Vista. Thank you for hearing my concerns this evening.
Okay, now we'll hear from the caller labeled iPhone, and then we'll go to Kathleen Lippett.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Becky Rapp, and I would like to echo the previous caller's comments as I too come to speak regarding the mental health crisis our youth are facing and its connection to marijuana consumption. I was reminded of the crisis when attending my son's high school graduation last week. One tradition in our district is having all graduating seniors return to their elementary schools and walk the halls in their cap and gowns, high-fiving the elementary students as they walk by. Sadly, one student was not present, and a friend of my son, who was lively, popular, and brilliant, but had died by suicide during his freshman year in high school. This tragedy was devastating then and is still devastating now. This young man's story is only one of many stories of young people who have come to know the realities of mental health challenges. A recent study featured in the Psychological Medicine Journal examined hospitalizations, ED visits, and outpatient visits, drawing from a sample of over 11,000 adolescents. The findings revealed that 5 out of 6 teenagers who sought treatment for a psychotic episode had previously used marijuana, marking an 11-fold increase in the likelihood of psychotic episodes compared to those who refrained from using the drug. Although the perceptions of marijuana use are increasingly seen as less dangerous, it is a fallacy, especially for those who are young and under the age of 25. The California Department of Public Health recognizes this correlation and has issued a warning regarding how marijuana has shown damaging effects to parts of the brain responsible for attention, decision-making, learning, memory, and motivation, including a higher risk of self-harm. Let's help our young people by drawing attention to the correlation between mental health and marijuana consumption. It would be beneficial for the city to spend money on programs that empower youth and provide positive and healthy life choices. Thank you.
Kathleen Lippett. Kathleen, are you there?
There, sorry. Okay. Good evening, Council. My name is Kathleen Lippett. My public health education was concentrated in public health policies that are economical, low cost, and sustainable, and that have the greatest benefit on the most individuals in our populations. The policies a city adopts should reflect your ethos and set a standard for the behaviors the city wishes to see among its residents, particularly youth. Your policies are de facto messages that either will endorse the use of more marijuana or warn or be a warning to youth that it is not in their best interest to use it. Listened last week to the social equity community webinar that was hosted by Kyle, and there were a lot of concerns that it does seem like this program is far from being ready for prime time, if it ever will be. Equity applicants are said to have to retain their licenses for 3 years. That's a very short amount of time. But then they'll be able to sell their licenses if they need to or want to. There is a cap on retail licenses, but it's interesting that there is no cap so far on equity licenses, which could be cynically looked at as the reason that they were brought forward. The city says it's going to provide core support services currently, but the city doesn't know how long they'll be able to do that because these costs will escalate. Also, there were several questions about workarounds. You shouldn't have to look for workarounds. The city of San Diego, the Independent Budget Analysis Office, did not endorse the social equity program, despite the fact that they would be giving back nearly $1 million in state funding. Because as cities all have learned over the years, state funding is not guaranteed to continue. And state funding for policies, many of which become unfunded local mandates. So the city of Vista would be on the hook for the rest of the whatever costs the program. There was no option to grow the number of retail licenses as I said previously. But there is some opposition that obviously is from current dealers. They don't want the competition.
Thank you.
But more.
Okay, that'll bring us to the consent agenda. The recommendations on our consent calendar will be enacted in one motion unless an item is removed from the calendar. Any member of the public may remove an item by submitting a request to speak card to the clerk secretary, by using the raise their hand feature on Zoom, or by pressing *9. Items removed from the consent calendar will be considered immediately following the adoption of the calendar. We have 16 consent items this evening. Items C3, C14, C15, and C16 have been pulled by the public. Deputy Mayor Melendez.
Move to approve the balance of the consent calendar.
Councilmember Contreras.
I'll second. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. That motion is approved unanimously. And we'll go to public speakers on item C3, the Palo Vista stop sign. We'll begin with Annette Longa. Annette, are you here?
Good evening, Council. I, Annette Longa, reside with my family at Paseo Artist Village, right at the corner of Guajome Street and Mercantile. My family are in favor of installing speed humps to reduce speeding vehicles coming from both traffic, left and right. So we're concerned about aggressive drivers that are careless of pedestrians, young or old, that walk along the street to get to their homes after school or work. There are businesses with oversized vehicles on both sides. And with the speed humps, it'll help reduce speeding vehicles and possibly detour traffic. I thank you for allowing me to express the importance of community safety of fellow families. Thank you.
Okay. See a motion on item C3. Councilmember Contreras.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Melendez.
Second.
Motion a second. Please cast your votes. We'll proceed to item C14. We'll start with Gordon Bradley. The motion to approve C3 is approved unanimously. Mr. Bradley, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. As he said, my name is Gord Bradley, and I'm here with my wife, Gloria, as street captains of Marabou Lane. A lot of our neighbors are here with us tonight for support regarding speed humps down our street. We were here about a month and a half ago to go through the first part of getting approval for a speed hump. And because the council felt our street was too short, they awarded us one street hump. That's great, we're happy about it, but after several discussions with all our neighbors, we really felt, as the petition got 100%, that it says plural, speed humps. We do need more than one. And this is kind of a map, not exactly to scale, where one comes here from Moa Drive, and this comes back down from West Beauvier. This is about a 20% incline. So people speeding from, or aggressive driving, speeding from West Beauvier go down here and they just speed fast because they're going downhill. Now the people up here, down here going up Marabou, do the same thing. They think it's a drag strip and they're gonna go up the hill as fast as they can. And there's a lot of kids, a lot of construction workers, a lot of people on their way to work or school who have started to use this as a shortcut. And again, we're happy that we're getting one speed bump. We really feel we need two. We really feel we need two because I know a couple people already that speed and they like to start right here. Well, if they had just one speed bump here where I think the council was suggesting, all they would have to do is just go over it and then just haul up the street faster. Same thing with going down the street. We have a couple neighbors here that have been living in these two houses at the top for over 50 years, and they're pretty sick and tired, as we all are, of the safety concerns and the aggressive driving. It's a lot more people. I've only lived there 10 years, but there's a lot more people on that street than there was 10 years ago. And I can say a lot of them live on Marabou Lane, or not Marabou Lane, on Waxwing, et cetera. And when they moved there, they were, say, a 5-year-old kid, 6, 10-year-old kid, and now they're 20 years old and they got a car and they like to speed. And plus the construction people and buses, not city buses, but occasional school buses, it's just too short of a street. And the theory or the thought that you only need one speed bump because it's a short street just doesn't wash, because they just take off from wherever that speed bump's gonna go and go back up. They really need to know, oh, I got a speed bump here, and then I got a speed bump here. And I know it would really help improve it, because I just don't, along with our neighbors, don't believe.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Contreras. Councilmember Contreras.
Yes. Thank you so much to the public for coming. I have spoken a few times with the folks on Marabou. Thank you for building community there, going door to door, talking to the neighbors. I reviewed this with City Manager Conley. It is at the discretion of the council to add an additional speed hump. The neighbors were under the impression that because the petition did indicate speed humps, that they would get more than one. However, due to the distance of the street, one speed hump was recommended. City manager, or perhaps to our wonderful staff, would it be within a permissible guideline to add an additional speed hump, and what does that process look like?
Sorry. Yes, you can add a speed hump. It's at your discretion. If the council wants to do so, it would be with a motion and a majority vote this evening.
Okay, and that would just go back to traffic engineering?
Correct. They would have to design it and put a little additional money into it to complete the second hump.
Okay, and what is the time frame for completion with adding an additional speed hump?
Defer to Sam for that.
This is Sam Hassan in City Traffic Engineer. Yeah, we haven't started the work on it yet, so it would be this street and maybe a couple other streets that will be probably starting in the next few weeks.
Okay, so you would batch it up, and would it take so much additional time to figure out the configuration of an additional speed hump that we wouldn't be able to move forward?
No, yeah, we haven't done the drawing yet, basically to send to the contractor, so this would just be part of the work. Normally, we do the work order after city council approval.
Okay, awesome. And to let everybody know, Sam is actually our employee of the year, so I always have to let people know. In that case, since it is at the discretion of the council and the neighbors were 100% in favor of speed humps, and we're actually shocked to see that it was only one speed hump, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve with adding an additional speed hump on Marabou Lane.
Deputy Mayor Melendez.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. That item is approved unanimously. It'll take us to item C15. I do have to ask you to, sorry to have to ask you to hold your applause in compliance with our city ordinance for decorum in the chambers. So we'll go to item C15 at this time. And we'll start with speakers Gloria Jimenez, followed by David Pavia, followed by Annette Longa, followed by Epi Tapia and Pam Nelson.
Hello, my name is Gloria Jimenez, and I'm here to appeal to your decision regarding the speed humps on Mercantile Street. First and foremost, I believe I represent the mothers and fathers that are unable to speak due to their language barriers or legal status, which hinders them from speaking out and forces them to hide behind the sidelines. And when we first voted, well, I know I voted for Joe Green, elected in 2016, we trusted he would continue to fight to serve our children and help build the future we envision for all of them. I have been able to see that today, how enthusiastic he is with supporting Rancho Buena Vistas and all the sports. That being held, to uphold the commitment on one that must prioritize the safety of the children. I ask that we understand the concerns about the speeding vehicles that are surrounding Mercantile. While I understand the concerns about emergency vehicles delays due to the humps, I believe that adding a speed bump on Mercantile Street will not interfere with emergency response vehicle, whereas the other speed bump that is located in Landon de Loma already has. Since I did speak with a couple of fire department staff, and then the safety of our children and our community members, I believe should be taken into consideration. We need to ensure a safe environment for where our children can walk, play, and ride their bikes without the constant threat of speeding vehicles. I urge that Council to reconsider the decision and approve the installation of speed humps on Mercantile Street. And then if we don't get an appeal or we don't get approved, I feel like we should work together to find a solution to protect our children and create a safer neighborhood for all residents. And thank you for your time and consideration.
Okay, now we'll go to David Pavia, followed by Annette Longa.
Good evening, Mayor and all council members. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm also here speaking for C-15 for the speed humps approval on Mercantile Street between Guajome Street and Palo Vista. Also, as the last speaker spoke, we are concerned about the speeders. We've had many incidents there of car accidents on this street because a lot of people are avoiding Santa Fe. And since there's no stop sign or anything on this street, they're speeding. And not only during the day, but also in the evening. But we've seen many accidents there. We've seen other times when, as residents were trying to enter or exit our homes, that's our only option is Mercantile Street. So we must enter and exit on a daily basis to go to work, to go to school, to do anything else we have to do. And it's causing a lot of concern, a lot of stress, because we're worried about being involved in an accident. It's happened to some of our residents already, where they've been in accidents because of speeders. And so we're very concerned that this will continue and get worse. I, as a long-time Vista resident, a lifelong resident here, grew up riding my bike here in the city of Vista, downtown, way back in the late 70s, 80s, and remember how easy it was to ride around on our bikes as children. And it's very difficult now because we have many people with these type of new vehicles, have bigger engines, and want to see how fast their cars can get. And they choose these type of streets that are not checked on a daily basis, have no stop signs, and they feel free to speed down these streets in complete disregard for the residents, for the children, for the businesses in this area. And so I ask kindly to be considered this motion to be approved for these speed humps on Mercantile Street. And I thank each and every one of you, and Mr. Joe Green and Karina Contreras, who spoke to us as well. And we know Sam was out there and he helped us walk the entire area, and I can see why he's an Employee of the Year, because he does a great job. Thank you all.
Annette Longa, followed by Epi Tapia, then Pam Nelson.
Hello again, Council. Good evening. This is for C-15. As my previous speech, it does relate altogether with the stop sign of the Palo Vista Mercantile. As I expressed, pulling out of my community, it's been very terrifying, alarming. I speak firsthand as I make a left coming from Guajome roundabout, stop, make a left onto Mercantile. I have a good amount of vehicles just swerve out from behind me and speed alongside me when there's an oncoming vehicle. So I think by this point, I do support fellow residents Gloria, David, and everyone else that couldn't make it tonight. It's just very alarming. Again, it's just, it takes a whole community to ensure safety. I do have children, they're teenagers. I do not allow them to step out because of this matter. I do see kids to where I'm coming along them. I slowly, watch out for them. The person behind me would just pull up and take off. It's very, my heart is just very terrifying, just the thought of it. I have reached out to Sam himself, thank you, personally, this was South Santa Fe in the front of the building where we could not cross. It does take the voice of the community to push and work together, and hopefully we can get all the assistance we possibly can get. Thank you again. Have a good evening.
Epi Tapia.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members. I'm in direct opposition of the speed bumps on Mercantile because it isn't a residential street, it's a business street. The other thing is that I was on the redevelopment committee and we expressed a pedestrian corridor on Santa Fe for just such matters. And that is exactly what we have. A pedestrian corridor on Santa Fe. This area is, like I said, not a residential area. It's a business district. I have taken the liberty of getting some signatures that oppose the bumps. And the other thing was that making Vista a cleaner, more beautiful Vista. The bumps are definitely not going to make that area more beautiful. The other thing is I'm proposing that we use our existing traffic law enforcement during peak hours and sprinkling them throughout the day and the evening so that we can, at least the city can benefit from the speeders. It would be akin to having a mobile monitoring device, kind of like when you go on a, let's see, when you go to a street or a highway that is ticketed because you don't have the permit to go on there. The name isn't coming to me right now. But they send you a ticket as soon as you use the toll road. That's the word I was looking for. When you use the toll road and you're not having a permit for that, then I think that the city should benefit from those speeders that are doing that and controlling that. The other thing that I wanted to make sure that I mention is that, is it true that we only have one Vista response deputy for traffic? Am I wrong? And then the other thing, if I believe correctly, that we have only had 3 accidents in 5 years on Mercantile. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have a lot of other reasons for not wanting the speed bumps, but I'm not going to go into it now. Thank you. Unlike the other speakers that want them.
Pam Nelson, followed by Sid Rothenberg.
Good evening. I'm Pam Nelson, one of the owners of Hannah Plumbing. Although our address is Santa Fe, we also own property at 645 Mercantile. That being said, we use that as a warehouse. We have 36 employees that park there. Also, our plumbers are loading and unloading sinks, toilet, water heaters, etc., and crossing the street at times all during work hours. The amount of speeding traffic is unsafe. People are irritated that they have to slow down or stop. We actually have someone in a fluorescent vest and a handheld stop sign to go out and restrict traffic while they're loading and unloading or backing and doing those sorts of things. There is also a mechanic next to us who works on large FedEx trucks, which also impedes our vision. We feel the speed humps would make people slow down. Since the roundabouts were installed, Mercantile has become the shortcut for speeding traffic. Most of our employees have stated that they're concerned of getting hit on Mercantile. Let's make it a safer street. I also have a letter from another employee, one of the other owners who couldn't be here. His wife is in the hospital. His name is Greg Hogestrat. He's one of the owners of Hannah Plumbing on South Santa Fe. We have occupied that building since 1986. Mercantile used to be a sleepy back street for the business owners on Santa Fe, very little traffic. When the roundabouts were being built, people found a shortcut by using Mercantile Street. Once they found a shortcut, it stays a shortcut. Ask the people who live on Sunset, Buena Creek, Lotta de Loma, etc. These quiet streets became shortcuts for people's daily commute. I was never a fan of speed bumps until the increase of cars started. We complained and the city put up temporary speed bumps, but removed them soon after. You cannot give every speeding car a ticket. As soon as the police officers are gone, they speed up. Speed bumps work everywhere. Speed bumps work, everyone slows down. Take a look at Santa Fe crosswalks, sidewalks, roundabouts. Look at Mercantile, no crosswalks, no sidewalks. The business next door uses FedEx large boxes trucks that block our vision to drive onto Mercantile. Do the right thing for the safety of all. The pedestrians, bikers, and those who live and work on Mercantile will thank you. Appreciate your consideration.
Sid Rothenberg, followed by Janet Lopez on Zoom.
Good evening again. I live in this neighborhood, and I'd like the council to think about the fact this is just the beginning, requesting speed humps on Mercantile. You approved the development of the Kenshaw project. That is going to increase the traffic problem in this area tremendously with 183 units. So the Paseo Village, Art Village, all the cars exit out on Mercantile. That's their only option. Pedestrians can exit out on Santa Fe if they choose. So the fact that you're seeing increased speeding down Mercantile to avoid the lineup around the roundabouts on Santa Fe is not surprising to me. And the contractor of that development also was tasked with paving the street of Mercantile. So it is now has curbs and it's narrower and it stops at the end of that development and opens up again to the, I don't know how to say it, the unimproved street, which is wide and has gravel here and gravel over on the other side. So it really lends itself to speeding and trying to make a shortcut, as the previous speaker was talking about. So I'm saying I really hope you will think about this, because you have approved the Kenshaw development, and that's just going to make the problem increase even more, because the streets will not accommodate that kind of traffic. I do want to thank the city for installing in May the 4 speed ups up and down Lado de Loma, and that has slowed the traffic, and I suspect people are now trying to find a new shortcut to get around this whole problem so that they can get home faster in the rush hour times. So thank you for listening.
Now we'll go to Janet Lopez on Zoom.
Hi, good evening, City Council. My name is Janet Lopez, and I support the speed bump behind Mercantile. There is a lot of speeders behind there that go every day, pass by every day. My family resides in Paseo Artist Village, and we fear the safety of our kids for the same reason of the speeders. And I myself have witnessed one of the residents' kids get hit by a car during the morning when I've driven my kids to school. That driver did not pull over or get off the car to check if he was okay. So I think the speed bumps would really help out with the traffic going on there. Thank you for your consideration. If it does get approved.
Thank you. Is there somebody with that 3-year-old in the lobby? Okay. Okay. I couldn't see the adult. I just saw the child wandering around trying to get into the room. Okay. Mr. Hassanen, why, in your opinion, did the Traffic Commission decline to approve this request?
They cited the fact that one of the things that we requested in this action is to waive the petition requirement, since the street is mostly lined with businesses. So they didn't feel that there was a consensus from the businesses, and we didn't have speakers in support as we did tonight. So they kind of didn't get to hear firsthand from the residents really that are kind of dealing with the speeding issues, plus the one business that spoke in favor as well tonight.
Okay. Councilmember Contreras.
First, I want to thank the public for coming forward. It's critical for the council to hear from you directly, whether you're in favor of something or against it. I do want to state that there's no way to enforce our way out of people speeding. Every deputy costs us $275,000. Our city would quickly go bankrupt if we were tried to have a deputy babysit every single street. However, by implementing traffic calming, which is something that, even if we want to have Captain Boyce from the Sheriff's Department speak to it, he doesn't have to, but we've had conversations where this is making our city safer. Law enforcement agrees. We have 4 motor deputies. It's something that this council has increased from 3 to 4. They have to work in pairs, so it made sense for us to have 4 instead of 3, right? Simple math. 5 accidents is 5 too many. 1 accident is 1 too many. And when it comes to Mercantile, the areas surrounding this road are going to increase with density. And if we want to make it safer for people to walk to the nearby businesses, for people to walk to our new Paula Vista Park, which I know you all do, then we need to create safe routes for folks to do that. I walk and I bike and I take public transit, and I know when I'm walking and biking, I don't feel very safe. And that's something that this council is determined to change. Even though there's not a petition for this, I see that the speed hump criteria checklist is still created. And out of 100 points, it is at 85. That to me, along with a testimony from residents and businesses in favor, it necessitates us moving forward with speed humps. And one of the things that, as we see more and more density happen, potentially with this new development, I think it would even behoove the city to see, hey, is there a mid-block crossing with a raised speed table that could be implemented in the future? So I do want to say that I am very disappointed with the Traffic Commission denying this project, but I understand it's difficult to make decisions. We have to make difficult decisions every council meeting. But I'm here to make these difficult decisions. And this one, on the scale of 1 to 10, is not all that difficult. I prioritize the safety of our community and the connectivity of folks to resources. And one of the questions that I have, and this is the last question, what is the speed on Mercantile? What's the speed limit there? Okay, because when I'm looking at the speed table here, showing significant quantities of folks in excess of 25 miles per hour, that is just not okay. And for us to not move forward and address this issue is negligence. And I do not want to see any other individual hurt in our community because the council is being negligent. Safety is comprehensive. It means having adequate deputies. It means having adequate firefighters. It means having traffic calming. So I'll go ahead and move forward that we do accept this. It is, after all, staff recommendation to accept the speed humps. And again, thank you all for coming. Your voice makes a difference. And it was stated that community, this is how you build community. Anytime that you have a question or you want to change something in your community, your voice makes a huge impact here. So please come. Don't let this be the first time. Don't let this be the last time. I hope to continue to have conversations with you all as we work to make Vista better, safer for everybody. Thank you.
Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. And that was a motion to accept staff's recommendation, correct? Fantastic. First of all, I'll second the motion. Fantastic motion. Thank you so much. I also just want to thank the speakers for coming out here. We also spoke a little bit about how we designed Paseo Santa Fe to be a walkable community. When we designed Paseo Santa Fe and called it Paseo Santa Fe for all that, we didn't have all of these additional developments that were coming in. The Paseo Artist Village wasn't there. The new property across the street wasn't there. The Ryland wasn't built. So there's a lot more densification that's happened in this area. And as we all know, driving on that particular road at rush hour is rough, and people are cutting through Mercantile. It is a shortcut, and there wasn't even a stop sign. You just kind of cut through that crazy intersection by the McDonald's and the old Mobile over there. Super scary. So having you guys come and speak to it and say, hey, we are walking that road. Our kids do walk that road, and we're going to continue to walk that road. We just want it to be safer means a lot. And also Hannah Plumbing showing up. Thank you. You've been here since 1986. I know. Love your blue letters on your sign. Love your vans, and love what you bring to our community. You've definitely been a business that's been a staple staple in our community for decades and sponsoring Little League teams and soccer teams. I grew up as a little kid in Vista, and you guys have definitely been more than just a business within the town. So I appreciate you coming in here and also speaking on behalf of the businesses. When you don't speak on behalf of what you want to change, you get results such as the traffic commission result. So you guys actually showing up and speaking in front of us makes a difference. Not that we were going to approve it anyways, but I really want to make you know, you being here, if somebody wasn't going to approve it, now they are, because they realize we've heard from the business community, we've heard from the residents, and this is what it's all about. So great job. Motion seconded. Call for a vote.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. That item is approved unanimously. That'll bring us to item C16, the ratification of the inaugural International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, Moving Picture Technician, Artists, and Allied Crafts of the United States and Canada, local number 122, Memorandum of Understanding. We have Robert Morales and Tyler Christensen would like to be heard on this item. Go ahead, sir.
Hey. All right. Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, council members, and our clerks. Thank you again. I want to take a moment, distinguished guests. Very excited tonight to say thank you for the consideration for myself, Robert Morales, the business agent of IATSE Local 122, its memberships. Thank you again for the City of Vista for its hard work and the consideration for the ratification between the Moonlight Theater and IATSE Local 122. Once again, I want to say thank you for that and your time and your effort in giving us that consideration. It means a lot to the workers at the Moonlight Theater to have this partnership with the City of Vista. So, thank you.
Tyler Christensen.
Hi, I'm here on behalf of the workers of Moonlight Amphitheater. We want to thank you guys so much for hearing out our concerns. As everyone knows, the cost of living has increased greatly since the post-pandemic years. And so the workers came together with IATSE to negotiate some of their concerns about compensation and workers' rights. And we want to thank IATSE so much for supporting us in that. And we want to thank the city too, including our bosses, Mike Bradford, Mike Pacheco, Jen Edwards, for hearing us out on those issues. We do want to say that we all voted on this and we're pleased with this contract. It was a majority vote to accept the city's version of the contract that you guys sent. And we want to thank you so much for also meeting with us individually, as all council members did, and your commitment to making Vista an employer of choice. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Contreras.
Oh, we have Councilmember O'Donnell actually meant to push the button, but
Councilmember O'Donnell.
Yeah.
You'll have to forgive me because I don't have much of a voice. Congratulations on your contract. Thank you for all the work you do. I just wanted to make a motion to approve item C16.
Councilmember Contreras.
I'll go ahead and second that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. That item is approved unanimously. Okay, that'll bring us to the first of 8 public hearings this evening. For the benefit of all those who are watching our meeting, we have a series of fines, administrative fees, sewer charges. Who did sewer tonight? Weed abatement. What else? Delinquent property fees. And these fees that are unpaid to the City of Vista require trash charges. They require a public hearing under state law to be assigned to the property tax rolls. So as long as there aren't council members or members of the public with public comments, we'll try and move expeditiously through these items since we have a number of them. Our first this evening is a public hearing regarding the 2025 Regional Transportation Improvement Program. Oh, this is not levying fees. We're getting to that in the next one. Then we'll move quickly. We'll welcome Mike Sylvia, Finance Director, to introduce this item. If there are any members of the public that wish to speak on the 2025 Regional Transportation Improvement Update, they may indicate so by using the raise their hand feature, pressing *9, or submitting a request to speak card. Mr. Sylvia.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. This is a biannually recurring item that's required by SANDAG, specifically Section 5A of the Transnet Extension Ordinance, and our budget manager, Sarah Taylor, is going to provide our staff report.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. This report is for the Regional Transportation Improvement Program, known as the RTIP. RTIP is SANDAG's program that includes projects proposed for transit improvement in the San Diego region, including projects that are eligible for Transnet funding. Transnet is the countywide voter-approved half-cent sales tax distributed to local agencies based on population and miles maintained. And SANDAG uses the RTIP similar to how we use our planning document, similar to our 6-year capital improvement program. The RTIP is formally updated by SANDAG every 2 years, and Transnet funds must be programmed in the RTIP for the city to use the funds for improvement projects. This slide shows the 4 VISTA projects programmed with Transnet funding for this update. The programming for these projects is in line with the upcoming 6-year capital improvement program budget, which was just approved by the City Council. SANDAG requires each local agency to hold a public hearing for Transnet programming changes and for a resolution to be approved by the City Council for each amendment before any updates to the RTIP are accepted. This concludes the presentation, and staff is available for any questions.
Deputy Mayor Melendez.
Thank you for this report. I would move to close the public hearing and to accept staff's recommendation on this. But I just had a question about the funds available in the RTIP, excuse me. City manager, I think when you and I spoke, you identified that there was $600,000 and soon to be another $50,000 in the ITIP for pedestrian improvements. Have those funds been allocated?
No, I'm looking at Sarah to confirm. But
So
those
those funds are currently in the pedestrian mobility sidewalk project, and so they're programmed in our 8290 project and available to be programmed on very specific sidewalk projects, but I don't think they've actually identified which sidewalks they're going to use those funds for yet.
I think my thought on this is to just be as effective as possible with these funds and as much as we can, utilize them with matching programs and regional and state grants so that we can maximize the public benefit from those.
So we do have the CDBG money we utilize first in that sidewalk project, and so that's why these funds have continued to carry forward that $500,000 for the Transnet monies.
Okay.
So we are utilizing the state funding and federal funding that we can identify.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
And I forgot to say earlier that the public hearing was open, so we'll remind everyone the public hearing is now open, and we heard the motion to close the public hearing. Go to Councilmember Contreras.
No questions, comments. Thank you for the report, and I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion to second. Please cast your votes. That'll take us to public hearing number 2 regarding collection of delinquent weed abatement charges. The public hearing is now open. Any members of the public wishing to speak may indicate so now. Councilmember Green.
I would move that we close the public hearing and accept staff's recommendation on this matter.
I'll second. We have a motion to second. Please cast your votes. I'll take us to public, and the vote on public hearing, item number 1 was, oops, sorry.
Oh, I apologize.
That's all right. The item on public hearing number 1, motion was approved unanimously. Public hearing number 2, motion approved was approved unanimously. That'll take us to public hearing number 3. Public hearing is now open regarding collection of delinquent sewer service charges. Members of the public wishing to speak on this item, please indicate that you would like to do so now? Councilmember Green. We do not.
All right, hearing no speakers on this item, I would move to close the public hearing and accept staff's recommendation as presented.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I'll second.
Motion is second. Please cast your votes. It'll take us to item PH4 regarding the levy of delinquent fiscal year 2023-2024 properly written administrative citation charges. The motion to approve PH3 was approved unanimously. The public hearing is now open for administrative charges. If any members of the public wish to speak, please indicate so at this time by submitting a request to speak card or pressing *9 or using the raise your hand feature. We have no speakers on this item. Councilmember Contreras.
Yeah, I move to close the public hearing and accept staff's recommendation.
Councilmember Green.
I second.
Motion is second. Please cast your votes. It'll take us to item PH5 regarding levy of delinquent mandatory trash charges. That public hearing is now open. The motion to approve public hearing number 4 was approved unanimously. Members of the public wishing to speak on mandatory trash charges, please indicate so at this time. Seeing none, Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, sir. I would like to acknowledge a member of the audience from EDCO who is in the audience. Is there any particular report that Mr. Ambrose from EDCO would like to give to the council? You'd like to defer at this time? Thank you, sir. With that said, I would move to close the public hearing and accept staff's recommendation as presented.
Councilmember Contreras.
Second.
Motion is second. Please cast your votes. We'll go to item PH6, levy of assessments for fiscal year 2024-25. The motion to approve PH5 delinquent mandatory trash charges was approved unanimously. Public hearing is now open regarding levy of assessments for fiscal year 2024-25. Members of the public wishing to speak on this item, please indicate so at this time. Seeing none, Deputy Mayor Melendez.
I move to close the public hearing and accept staff's recommendation.
Councilmember O'Donnell getting on the action.
I second.
All right. Got a motion. That was a second for the record. Motion is second. Please cast your votes. See, that was number 6, right? We're flying. Number 7. Hearing regarding proposed credit debit card and electronic check service fee levy. Do we have to have a vote for the fees, the credit card fees? Is that what this is? If you pay your levy, fine, or charge with a credit card, we also have to vote to collect the credit card fees?
Correct.
Okay, that's all makes sense now. The public hearing is now open. Any member of the public wishing to speak on this item, please indicate so at this time. And we'll skip the presentation on this unless anybody has any questions. Deputy Mayor Melendez.
I move to close the public hearing and accept staff's recommendation on this item.
Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much, Deputy Mayor Melendez. I also want to, number one, second this motion, and I want to thank staff for explaining this to me. One thing I was unaware of is that as a municipality, we don't have a third-party credit card processor. We make agreements directly with the companies. So we're saving that money for our citizens by making individual agreements. Mike, Sylvia, and our finance team, thank you so much for all your work. With that, call for the question.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. And that is good work. Thank you, Mr. Sylvia. Okay, the motion to approve PH7 is approved unanimously, as was the motion to approve PH6. And that will bring us to our final public hearing this evening regarding city rental fees and program fees. The public hearing is now open. Any members of the public wishing to speak on this item may indicate so at this time. Our Recreation and Community Services Director, Mike Pacheco, will introduce this item.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thank you very much. Mike Pacheco, Recreation Community Services Director, and with me is our new management analyst, Sydney Roth. And the item we have before you tonight is our city rental and program fees. And with that, I'll go ahead and toss it over to Sydney to start our presentation.
Thank you, Mike. Hello, everyone. It's nice to finally meet you. So, Recreation and Community Services does an annual review of its policies and its fee schedule. And with our review this year, we do have a couple of changes. However, I would like to take the time to highlight a few things from last year. So last year, we did have some minor policy edits. There were increases to facility fees, increases to recreation program fees, as well as the waive rentals, and there were no increases to cultural arts fees. With that in mind, today we're proposing we don't have any policy edits. Last year's edits really finessed the policies and procedures. However, we have two things for you to consider. The first is the elimination of the July 4th parking fee, which I'll talk about first. And the second is modest increases for select cultural arts fees. As council well knows, there is a spectacular Independence Day celebration every July 4th. And historically, we have collected parking fees for this. Last year, we learned quite a bit. We did not have the ability to hire and retain staff to collect fees. And what we learned is that it significantly improved traffic flow. So for that and the continued struggle to get necessary temporary labor, and with the fact that oftentimes cities, especially in our area, don't charge these fees, is why we are recommending the elimination. And we are recommending that this become effective this year. I would like to point out that as far as cultural arts goes, there are quite a few different fee schedules. The first is the Moonlight Presents Concert Series, the Moonlight Summer Season shows. We have youth theater, and of course, facility rentals. But today we're going to focus mainly on the Moonlight Summer Season. So what we recommend is to have a modest increase to those ticket prices, and we also want to increase the ticket processing fee from $1 to $2. And this would take effect of October 1st this year. I do want to note that since fees for cultural arts have been stagnant for 2 years, it is worth noting that we have had increased operation costs, and that's the main driver for these increases. And so just to highlight a few things, this list is by no means comprehensive, but minimum wage has increased. We have had a capital improvement project to replace the Moonlight Amphitheater seating. Utilities have increased, insurance has increased, and shipping costs have increased with supply chain struggles. And so our recommendation regarding the single tickets is to increase those by a few dollars. You'll look that almost all of them are increased by about $2. Very few are increased by a little bit more than that. And then for the season tickets, while this is more than a few dollars, I would like to note that having these small changes or these small increases every few years is a lot more palatable and strategic and can really help avoid large fee spikes that are a lot more jarring to the public. So with that, to summarize, we recommend the elimination of the July 4th parking fee, increasing the credit card processing fee from $1 to $2, and to accept these very slight fee increases for the cultural arts summer season tickets only. And with that, I can answer any questions, or we can pass it off to Mike Pacheco for the next portion of the presentation.
What is the lost revenue on the July 4th parking?
Yes, I was actually going to also introduce our operations manager. They're here tonight as well in the front row behind me, so I apologize for not letting you also know that they're here. Operations manager Mike Bradford and operations manager Rob Anderson. And I believe it's about $15K we'd usually bring in with the revenue, 12 to 15. It's $15 for non-residents, $15 for residents, 30 for non-residents. Is that right? No, go ahead. Thank you. 30 is for the motorhome, 15 is for a regular vehicle, so it kind of depends on what type of vehicles we're bringing in.
So did you say $15,000?
It could be up to that, about that much, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I know that the way we were collecting it in the past didn't work. But, I mean, that's a lot of money. And we've always had sponsors. It's expensive to put the show on. And it's a way to limit the number of people parking. And, you know, so I actually think it made sense to pay for it. There's already an expectation to pay for it. You know, it's a pretty significant chunk of what it costs to put the thing on. I just felt like if we had better equipment, you know, or I don't know, just take cash. You know, that was one of the disadvantages. We were trying to use some fancy technology. But if it was just a $20 bill, people would be okay with that. And we get 1,000 cars. Is that how many we can accommodate?
Does that sound about right? About 1,000. And if I could, Mayor, I think one of the things we found is that it's not really the transaction that makes it slow. It's just the nature of the beast with somebody standing on the corner, even though you saw the sign riser coming in and you read everything on our website that said, you're just going to park over here and they're going to walk down and see the fireworks. People just have to ask 5 questions to the person standing at the entrance, and it just backs everybody up for miles all the way out onto the main street. And then by like 8 o'clock, the deputies have to just cut it off, and people that are waiting in line just can't get into the park. This last year, after 8 o'clock, the road was clear, and people could just drive in and still find the parking. So we just feel like noticing in other cities have such a good success with not charging for this that maybe the sponsors will come back after they kind of hear, you know, this is such a good quality event. They want to be a part of that. And we just feel like if you have a better quality event, we could maybe get some more money out of the sponsorship component, just more of an enjoyable night for everybody. But I get it, 15 does sound like a lot of money. The manpower is just really difficult for us these days to just run parking and have everybody on the corner. Just, you know, we don't park for the Moonlight anymore. We contracted that out. So just really been contracting out a lot of staff. So it's just, a lot of things have kind of come to this decision kind of making, but you know, I know it was last minute last year, and I know you had some concerns about it last year too, about it just being too many people coming in with it being free, but it did seem.
I just think it's a system issue.
Yeah.
You know, if we have the right systems, you've made some good arguments, but I really think it was just not having a great system. I mean, obviously, the labor cost is well less than the revenues, and it's expensive. And you know, we had some talk about eliminating the, you know, fireworks altogether at one point, and, you know, drones and all this stuff, and people want the fireworks. And you have to have some way to limit the cars coming in and some way to pay for it. And, you know, it's free to everybody, but if you want to bring your car in, you got to pay for that. It's a little perk. I don't know how the rest of the council feels about it. What about this ticket processing? You called it a ticket processing fee at first, and then you called it a credit card processing fee. Which one is it?
Okay, so
can I avoid paying the fee if I come to pay at the Vistix and I use cash? Do I still pay the fee?
You would. So it's actually.
So it's not a credit card fee.
Yeah, sorry.
I
So
misspoke. That's my
okay.
apology.
I just want to understand.
Good question. Yeah.
So
Great question.
I don't like this. Is a junk fee. What is this? Why are you charging this separate?
Okay, so it's actually just part of the fee, and so the software we have for the whole department, we have 3 different softwares. They're all cloud-based, so we have a different software at the Wave, a different software at the Moonlight, and then this particular software is called ActiveNet that we use for.
So you're recovering the cost of the software,
correct,
with this fee.
That's what they charge us.
But I mean, you know, they don't. When we had paper tickets, I didn't pay a printing fee for the paper ticket either. So this is just a cost of having a ticketing system.
True.
It's a junk fee, and I get that businesses are doing it, but I really don't like it when businesses do it. And, you know, honestly, we see the president going after it. He's talking about it in his State of the Union speech, and he's right. People hate it. So I would like to get rid of the junk fee, add it into the ticket price, give people one transparent price so they know what it costs, instead of it's a $30 ticket, and then I go to check out, I got 2 tickets, instead of $60, it's $64, and I'm going, what? And it just makes me unhappy. I don't like to be unhappy. I don't like to make other people unhappy. So just be transparent and add it in.
So Mayor, you're just advocating that we add the $2 fee onto all of the prices that are already, okay.
Otherwise, why not break out the cost of the, the guy that runs the spotlight fee and have a spotlight fee?
Yeah, Mayor, thank you for the clarification. So you won't be able to tell you've been charged this fee. It's actually part of the fees we're already charging, but because we have to make sure it's every fee we charge is approved by council, we have to kind of basically pull this out and so that you see what the software fees are charged. But then if you were to pay for your tickets or your registration, it's part of the fee that we're charging everybody.
So it's not broken out separately for the end user?
No, sir.
It's not added on at the end?
Correct.
I got your word on that?
Absolutely.
All right. Very good. Deputy Mayor Melendez.
Thank you. And so the second half of this is the cannabis business fees.
Yes, and if you're ready, I can move on to that. I have another slide for
I
that.
do have a couple comments here. So I'm supportive of increasing some of the rates related to Moonlight tickets. I wanted to see where we were at in terms of some of these premier seats, I say would be the orchestra seats. Are those booked every night?
You know what, if it's okay, I'd like to have Mike Bradford come up and he can kind of speak to that a little bit.
Thank you.
For our season subscriptions, hi everyone. Our orchestra seats are primarily booked. I can't say every night is completely booked, but our subscriptions are available. So for instance, we have 5 shows. You may be the first Friday night and you sit in the same seat every first Friday night. And so those subscriptions are well attended for our orchestra seats. And so I wouldn't say 100% booked. There's still some availability in the orchestra section. But
and how does that compare to some of the other seats, like the higher level lawn seats?
The orchestra seats are the highest, I guess have the most people in them. And then second to that would be the reserved lawn seats. Our reserve section are the most infrequently used, although those are still used on some of our busier nights. So orchestras would be primarily the number one, and then reserved lawn, followed by reserved seats. And then our general lawn seats, which are up on the hill, would be the fourth out of all those.
And have we had any survey of the patrons of the Moonlight? What I want to relay to the community and the patrons of the Moonlight and our great arts and cultural community and that we have in Vista and beyond is that their tickets are allowing, and the money that they pay for their tickets to sit in the orchestra is allowing the show to go on, right? And it's highly significant. People associate going to see a show not only with the entertainment that they're going to receive, but the greater sense of value and contributing to the arts performance at all. And so I would be curious to know, I've spoken with folks that I know are patrons of the Moonlight, and I think that there may be regular patrons of the Moonlight who would be willing to pay a little bit more. I see quite a modest increase from, for primetime orchestra, Friday, Saturday night, we're going from $63 to $65. I would be curious how it would be received by these premier guests who are purchasing the orchestra seats, if they would be comfortable with a $70 ticket, right? I think that if there's an awareness that the patrons are allowing, this isn't just a revenue opportunity for the city, this is to ensure that we have even more programming available to them, right? It's an investment. So I would be curious to know how the patrons feel about that. I don't know if we do any survey to our patrons, right?
Yeah.
Is that something that we have?
I think it's a good question about how fees are done, in our department, to be honest, because I've worked in other cities where we've done like a full fee survey for the whole entire department. So there is a little bit more of a science to it. If that's council's direction, you'd like us to kind of look more at a fee survey. This is just we're really just trying to just do our modest based off of what inflation was this past year, it was pretty low. So 3.5 increase, we felt like wouldn't really, upset the apple cart. We're just really like conscientious of what market rate is going to be. And it's just such a really like finagling people, to come out and spend money. I don't think we have the in-house expertise to do a full survey, but we could definitely look at that if that's something.
I appreciate the concern that we want to cover what we need to cover and just keep it at that.
Right.
But hearing that these seats are regularly filled, there might even be nights where it's hard to get tickets, right? That motivates me, maybe we can put a higher price tag on these premier seats and, that it would be comfortable.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I would probably suggest, I think our more tried and true patrons of the Moonlight have a season subscription. So what you would be suggesting would be an increase to the single tickets. Our single tickets, I would argue that we would want them to be as low as possible to draw in new patrons to the Moonlight, and the opportunity for a higher ticket price might be more well received by the people that normally come to the Moonlight and have a subscription to the Moonlight and kind of fold it into that.
The line item I see here for what you're describing is Friday, Saturday night for summer season
subscriptions.
Subscription holders for orchestra is going from $239 to $247.
Correct, and that's 5 shows. That's exactly
and
right.
so do we think that there might be less of a drawback for increasing the rate of that package to a larger amount?
I do.
Okay, I think
as opposed to single tickets.
Yeah, I think that this is part of that stakeholder conversation that we can have with our patrons of our arts and cultural facilities, and I'm happy to make that ask. Right? Because I think it's a mutual relationship. Our patrons want to be there and we want to provide wonderful shows for them. And I want to make sure that we can continue doing that and have sustainability for our fee structure. So I don't have any specific recommendations. Where we're at right now is sufficient, but I'm open to a conversation in the future about having more of a thorough study and kind of having more of a stakeholder discussion to see what are folks willing to contribute. So that's where I would say there. I'll go ahead and allow you to have a seat unless others have questions. I'm okay with the $2 fee. I appreciate what the mayor is saying about parking. Logistics, I understand it can be challenging, but it is an opportunity of the day, of the event, the free that we're putting on. I'm not opposed to continuing allowing or receiving payment for parking. So that would be one concern that I'm open to changing what's recommended. But I don't know how everybody else feels. And then my last comments would be about the some of the other facilities that we have. I'm sure that there's a way that we can more intensively evaluate our fees. I look at some of our rental options at like parks and like the multi-purpose room, even the ranch house at Thibodeau Park. And I see a lot of the enclosed rental facilities, they have an hourly rate. And one of the things that I would like to know, and I don't know if you have this information now, City Manager, I had posed this question to you when we met yesterday. What is the average amount of hours that people are actually utilizing these rentals? Do we have that information?
For a picnic pavilion?
Not so much the outside, right? Because the outdoor facilities, those are daily rates. And then the indoor facilities like Morris Vance and some of these other clubhouses, the auditorium, right? Those are based on an hourly rate. So for the facilities that are based on an hourly rate, do we know that average hours that people are spending there?
We could run a report through the software, but Rob, do you have an idea? I mean, off the top of your head? Okay, I'll have Rob Anderson can speak to that one.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the average, it really depends on the event. If you're looking at a wedding, you're looking at roughly a 6-hour event. If it's a meeting, it's roughly 2 hours. But they do definitely vary.
I would be supportive, and I wonder how my council feels. I would be supportive of maybe having a more complex fee schedule for some of our facilities where it is maybe one rate for a 1 to 2 hour reservation and then a different rate for a larger, longer event. The reason for that, I think we could actually maybe get more reservations if it's a little more cost accessible for families to be able to, or a book club or whatever it is, right, that only wants to meet for an hour and a half versus someone who's really needing the facility to put on a whole event. So I think that there's a way for us to improve our fee structure in that. And then a similar thing could be said specifically about the AVO. The AVO has all of these fee options when it comes to performance day versus non-performance day. And I think that this is actually really restrictive. I think that in my opinion, if a member of the public is standing in the middle of a public facility, that is $0, in my opinion. That it should be $0 for someone to be just in a public facility. The second you have to plug in lights, the second you have to haul supplies or monitor the space, and basically the labor costs of running the facility, that's where we can actually reasonably charge someone. But for somebody who doesn't need a non-performance day for rehearsal, right? For a small performance group that just wants to rent it for one day and doesn't need a lot of equipment, right? It's just, right, a stand-up comedian and a microphone, right? I think that these rates are for a certain type of production, but they're really prohibitive to a lot of other smaller performers or people who, whether it's that smaller book club, right, versus a wedding, or the stand-up comedian versus a large musical performance, right, or production. I think that if we are able to have fees that are modified based on the actual labor and kind of facilities management that goes into it, we could have costs that are more accessible to the community for a variety of events. So I would love to hear what my council thinks about that. Is there some way that we can modify it so one guy with a microphone is able to pay a smaller fee for the AVO than a whole theater troupe? I would be supportive of that type of change. Thanks.
In terms of non-performance versus performance days, the distinction there is that if it is a performance day, if it's a ticketed event, and a non-performance day, if it's a rehearsal, as you know. In terms of how we rent, it's a 10-hour block of time, so reducing the amount of time someone was in there, it is prohibitive for someone who's doing a 2-hour book club, as you mentioned, or something like that, to rent it for 10 hours. It's unnecessary, but we just don't have a current rate structure that allows for a short-term. Part of that is due to the cleaning that's required. We have a contract for cleaning, and so when an event takes place, we're required by our contract to clean it, and it's between $300 and $370 to clean the AVO. So the non-performance rates, reducing those would not allow us to cover even our cleaning costs. So the opportunity would be then in the performance rate category.
Thanks, Mike. We do have a member of the public that would like to be heard on this on Zoom, if that's okay with the council. We'll hear from Megan Stewart on Zoom. Please go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, I was wanting to speak on the cannabis part of this public hearing. Has that started, or can I be heard right now?
If you'd like to speak now, you'd be welcome to go ahead and do that, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Good evening, Mayor and members of the Vista City Council. As a public health advocate, I would like to express my concern regarding this proposal to reduce the frequency of audits for marijuana businesses in our city. Recent events, such as the case of Mary Jones hemp-infused sodas, highlight the critical importance of robust regulatory oversight and enforcement in the marijuana industry. The California Department of Public Health's warning against Mary Jones products revealed that these sodas contained illegal and intoxicating THC isolate ingredients, posing a serious risk to consumers. This situation underscores the challenges in regulating and enforcing laws within the marijuana industry. Despite the state's efforts, these dangerous products made it to the market, demonstrating the pervasive nature of the problem and the difficulty in controlling such products. Reducing the frequency of financial audits and reducing the number of inspections of marijuana businesses, would intensify this issue by creating gaps in regulatory oversight. Without regular audits, marijuana businesses may be more inclined to cut corners or engage in illegal activities, jeopardizing public safety. We cannot afford to compromise public safety by reducing the frequency of financial audits. Extensive oversight and enforcement are necessary to ensure that marijuana business comply with the regulations and provide safe products to consumers. Therefore, I'd like to urge the council to reconsider this proposal and prioritize initiatives that enhance regulatory enforcement in the marijuana industry, and with that, not reduce the number of inspections of marijuana businesses. Thank you so much for your attention and allowing me to speak.
Deputy Mayor Contreras. I'm sorry, Councilmember Contreras. Apologize.
Yeah, no worries. So I'm looking at page 10 out of 28, the AVO, Playhouse, or Club M. I thought that the last time we spoke about this, there was consensus at the council level to decouple the AVO and Club M, seeing as that they are significantly different venues. Because I don't really feel that the AVO Playhouse, we need to activate that more. It's in our downtown. And I would like to see that decoupled from Club M. And I also believe that the fee structure that we see is cost prohibitive to putting on even, a movie, some indie films, whatever the case might be, where it's not exceeding a 3-hour time frame. So yeah, if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, Club M is no longer an event that takes place at the Moonlight. With the addition of our new LED screen, it changed the footprint of what was available for that activity at the Moonlight. So while it may be listed here, it's not something that is taking place at the Moonlight any longer. In terms of the rates, I understand, and we can certainly take a look at adjustments based on council's recommendations.
Yeah, so in that case, I think we need to strike the or Club M from there.
Yes, good catch. Thank you, Councilmember.
Yeah, so I want to add that. And also, I'm okay approving this now because I know we want to approve it. However, I need this to come back because we need to figure out how to make it accessible for folks to have small events at the AVO. And I want our expertise and staff, and I know we have a stakeholder group, to provide us, even just a scenario. Hey, a comedy show, what does that look like, right? A small scale. What is showing, an indie film, or there's, even environmental films that folks want to show. So I need that to come back to council this year in the next few months, so we can have a more dynamic discussion and really figure out how we're going to activate the AVO, because it's just not working right now. And we have businesses downtown, they cannot function on having a good Friday and Saturday. We really need to activate this space a lot more. So those are my comments on that. I would be interested in what Deputy Mayor Melendez said about, outside of this, or I guess it's even part of this, but looking at some kind of additional, she called it a complex fee structure, some additional fee structure for, blocks of time that are 2 hours or less. I understand that the cleaning could be an issue, but, perhaps that's something that if folks are leaving it pretty clean, then, maybe they don't get charged an additional fee. But if they're just like, if you're in a hotel and you mess it up, you're going to have to pay more, right? Because we are going to have their payment information on file, right? So we could have some kind of a contract where hey, it's a low fee because you're going to be using it for 2 hours or less, or 2.5 hours, or 3 hours or less, whatever the case might be. But understand that if we need to clean up after you, then we're going to charge you for that. So I would be in favor of looking at that a little bit more. But we definitely need to figure this out, because I'm tired of seeing some of our spaces not activated like they should be. And it's up to this council to really figure out, what we need to change in order to see a higher utilization and a higher return on investment for the taxpayers and for the community. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Deputy Mayor and Councilmember Contreras, for your comments on this. I 1000% agree about the AVO and getting it activated. I love the idea of a smaller window than a 10-hour block. I didn't know you could only rent it for a 10-hour block until I read this entire agenda report. So thank you so much for letting me know that. It really lets me know why the AVO's never rented, because I never have an event that I want to spend 10 hours doing. So I would like to see some type of structure where you could rent it for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, or 10 hours maybe. And then my recommendation, because you say, hey, we have a contract where we have some type of law or something where you have to clean it every time somebody uses it. Since we create the laws, maybe we could change that, and we could say, hey, the only time we have to do that deep cleaning when it's $370 is when the 10-hour event people come in here. If you're a 2-hour event, we'll keep a $250 security deposit on file, and we'll reinspect when you're done. And if you didn't cause any damage, we'll release that to you. If not, our public works crew works for $60 an hour or whatever, and it's going to take them a couple hours to clean up your mess, and we're deducting it from your deposit instead of having a professional cleaning crew having to come in every time. And this is just a way to activate the space, because, if you could have somebody come in and do a, hour-long comedy show and rent for 3 hours, that'd be fantastic. And there's a lot of different things we could do, but making it only available just for 10 hours and you got to pay the cleaning fee and you got to do this, it definitely ties your hands. Knowing the cost of that to just have a party or just throw an event, it's really restrictive of just a regular person. So I definitely like you to come back. We don't got to do that right now. I really think the changes that you guys have come up with are fantastic. Sydney Roth, did I say your last name right?
Yes, thank you.
You are very welcome. Fantastic presentation. No ands, ums, buts, or whatever. I like to judge people's public speaking, and yours was very good. So great job. Really well received on this end over here. And when it comes to modest increases, like I tell my daughters, modest is hottest, my friend. So keep it like that, my man. So I definitely want to bring this back in the future, just about how we can get our spaces more activated. But I think the work that you guys have done right now is great, and it's going to meet the needs of the community as of right now. I also love Deputy Mayor Melendez's idea of talking to your season ticket holders. While I was up here, I actually texted Jennifer Bradford, who is the lovely spouse of Mr. Michael Bradford, and said, hey, I'm not on council next year, so we're talking about these season tickets. I'm going to need some, so make sure. And I would pay $20 more for the year, no problem. $223, $243, $250, who cares? If I know I'm supporting the Moonlight, let's go. So I think that's a much better suggestion. Keeping the per event ticket price down where it's, more palatable for a new person to come to the Moonlight. And then let us people who are already in love with sitting through 4 hours of musical theater pay the extra money. You know what I mean? We will sing it through the mountaintops. So with that said, I would like to close the public hearing and accept staff's recommendation as presented, with the understanding that you've heard from We have one more half of your public hearing? Bro, okay, I don't know why you put it in two public. Anyways, fantastic. I'm good with this. I'd say let's move on to cannabis after my council members speak. Thank you.
I'm going to get back in rotation here and say, I was thinking about this in 12 years. I don't really remember, except maybe it was that very last time, was it 2 years ago? Was the only time it was ever a problem taking the money. So I got the solution figured out. We tell the people taking the money, here's the answer to all questions. I'm sorry, I don't know. Problem solved. I'm good at fixing these things. Put me in charge, I'll make it work perfectly. I'm sorry, I don't know. Next. You give them a roll of tickets, and they give a ticket, you put it on your dash. I gave you 100 tickets, I expect $120 bills, or I expect 20 tickets and 80 $20 bills, right? Now I have some method of figuring out, what's going on with the cash. I think it's actually really easy. It's a lot of money to defray our costs, and it tends to limit the number, and it's still free. Anybody that wants to park and walk, or the problem is on the way out, and we're not collecting anything on the way out. That's what everybody knows that comes in there, free or not. The problem is when you're trying to leave, because everybody's leaving at once. I'm still unsold on this, so if there's another member of the council that has any thoughts on this, 20 grand's a lot of money to walk away from to pay for our expensive fireworks, and I want to keep doing the fireworks, and because we don't always have generous people to pay for them.
Mayor, sorry to interrupt you. Could I add one thing? It just made me think of something that I should have wrote this in the staff report. When you were mentioning, people that wanted to attend this event for free, we've actually gotten some feedback with that, because there's another event that's coming up that's like the Highland Games, where they'll do a free shuttle where you can ride a shuttle, so you don't have to pay for the parking. They come in from different shuttle lots. So that's a good option for people that have a barrier to attend events. We can't do that for the 4th of July. We can't do a free shuttle, because there's no way to bring a bus through the park, because the park has to get closed down at that lower area for the fallout zone. So that was another thing. I'm glad you mentioned that. It's something we kind of thought that would be really helpful for people that don't have the ability to afford the parking. We could allow them to come in for free, since we can't offer that other free option.
So you're saying if we charge, we wouldn't have the mechanism to allow it to be free?
Correct.
An acceptable alternative?
Like the free shuttle, correct, yeah.
I mean, there's, every year for a dozen years, there's a lot of people carrying their lawn chairs. They're figuring it out.
Got it, yeah. No, I just wanted to add it to the
Well, a lot more people come. I mean, I appreciate that, but the fact that we had a little hitch with it one year, I'm just not hearing like the compelling argument to give up 20 grand worth of revenue, not for something that is expensive and we got to figure out how to pay for. The more we figure out how to pay for stuff as we go, the better off we are. We can keep doing it. Back to Deputy Mayor Melendez. Were you?
I was, yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. And to be clear, was it $20,000 or?
It's about 12 to
12 to
15.
15?
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of varies.
Absence of a free shuttle, I think that's a reasonable point, but I know people will park like just all over the neighborhood. So I don't see a problem with continuing paid parking. It's the change isn't going to really affect anyone. I think it's a logistical issue. I wanted to see from City Manager, do we need a motion, and also City Attorney, are we able to make a motion, a separate motion during a public hearing? Do we have enough consensus gathered, City Manager, to be able to come back to us with a more dynamic fee option for the AVO that would allow for shorter term performers to rent the space?
Yeah, we can definitely do that. It's going to take us a little time. I don't know how much time until I sit down with my staff and figure that out, but we can certainly come back with that. I just can't promise how soon.
Okay, but you have consensus and you have that direction?
I believe I heard from the majority council tonight that you'd like to have us look at a different fee structure that allows for shorter times and use of these facilities. So yeah, we can definitely do that.
Okay, and based on the consensus provided tonight, I don't know if there was consensus on changes to the Moonlight season ticket holders, but let's say there is consensus on that, what would the direction be for the staff if we were to, because I support the motion, I think where we're at right now, I know it will take a little bit of time for staff to develop something new. Is this something where we could expect to see this changed and updated and modernized for next year?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Moonlight tickets go and talking to the users, we would likely be able to do that over this year and be able to come back next year with our ticket increase and have all that information, but it would likely require some kind of a fee study.
Okay, and that's for the Moonlight, and then for the AVO, you don't have an expected time frame.
But it would be sooner than a year, for sure, yeah.
Okay, I'm amenable to that. Thank you.
Councilmember Contreras.
I just wanted to chime in on the parking. This is a celebration of independence, and I just think it should be free. So I am not in favor of charging, shockingly, maybe, not in favor of charging for parking for our Independence Day celebration. I think that the revenue generated is relatively small. So yeah, I'm okay with letting that go. I think that just in general, Bringle Terrace Park has, the way that it's planned, it's just difficult to navigate. I mean, whether it's the Moonlight or Independence Day, I don't know what we can do because the footprint is the footprint, but the circulation there is absolutely terrible. And I do think that in the future, if we could figure out, the Jim Porter entrance exit, that it's a little bit difficult there. And I almost feel like we need like a stop sign or something in general, because trying to exit out of there is sometimes a little bit dangerous. But anyway, so I don't support charging for Independence Day. That's where I'm at.
Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much. I also didn't chime in on that. I feel like the Independence Day event is the one real time where we want to have everybody from the city of Vista, regardless of the financial class, come show up and enjoy the fireworks here at the city. And even if it's an expense that we have to eat as a city, we always make sure that this is an event that is there, that is accessible to people. In the event, we have people from the other side of town who want to come and they have to drive their cars, not providing parking for them because we want to make an extra 12 to 15 grand as a municipality, in my opinion, isn't really a good look. Also, what I see is I'm a dad, I got 4 kids, I got 2 grandkids, and if you're gonna pack your kids up in the car with all their stuff and blankets and go to a city park, you shouldn't be charged to go in that park, especially for something like the 4th of July. I feel like maybe what we should do is let this year go by and try it out the way that it was presented and see if maybe as a municipality, we can get more donations to kind of cover that and figure out ways that we can kind of offset that cost for the citizens. Because I think if we tell our donors, hey, if you guys give us a little extra money, we can let the people know when they're there that, hey, these donors are making it to where you guys don't have to pay for parking, and maybe our staff can, call people for that. I mean, it's the one chance where like the city actually goes out and asks for money for something. People, in my, experience, I'll make the calls if we're allowed, but they like to be a part of the community like that. And if I could say, hey, Hannah Plumbing donated. I mean, they were here earlier today to talk about the speed humps that they needed. They donated this money so that Vistans don't have to pay for parking. Like, for me, I feel like as a city, we should be able to do that. So I don't want to take the money. We didn't take it last year. I do feel like the traffic flow was a lot better. I live right around the corner from Bringle Terrace Park. So my road, you can actually see the fireworks from. So some people just park on my street to watch them who aren't there. But last year was the first year I didn't have rows of cars lined up outside of my front yard after the show. So which seems really weird. I don't know how it worked out, but the traffic flow was great. I feel like people might have left earlier because they didn't pay for parking or they packed, I don't know what, but the flow in and the flow out was so much better, to the residents in the surrounding areas. I really like it. So something I didn't say, and even my wife is a big fan of families not paying to go watch the 4th of July. So that's where I'm at with it. I think the only person we haven't heard of winning was Councilmember O'Donnell. So we're 2-2, Councilmember O'Donnell. How do you feel about parking? We're going to need to hear.
I'm just going to say, agree on it's free to get into the park. It's always been free to get into the park. It's just the parking. And by the way, throw into this conversation with what Councilmember Contreras said and what Councilmember Green said, we do charge $5 to get into the upper seats at the Moonlight. So we're not doing that for free and aren't proposing to do it for free. Discuss amongst yourselves. Councilmember O'Donnell.
Don't charge for parking.
Don't charge, he says. Okay. There you go. But, I really am not that hung up on this, but I don't think that the leaving afterwards has anything to do with collecting money, because that's all in the beginning. So whatever you did to make that work better, keep doing that. We all,
A credit goes to Mike Bradford. He found a contract parking company, and that's how they park the cars at Moonlight. They're just so efficient now, and that was definitely, I'm glad you keyed in that. It was definitely a good improvement last year.
how much does it cost us to pay the contract parking company? Huh? Oh, $500 a night. Well, that's not bad. Let's go ahead and do a motion on the recreation fees. How about? Because then we're going to go on and do a whole different thing, cannabis, under the same item. Is that all right with everybody? Motion to approve the recreation fees with the direction given by council here, Councilmember Green.
I will make that motion, and I assume that we can also close the public hearing since we have no speakers on the public
We
hearing.
won't close it
and
just yet because
continue-
we're going to go on to this.
So we could
next.
get new hearings? Fantastic, yeah. I'll make the motion to accept the fees as presented. Thank you.
I'll second it. And a motion is second. Please cast your votes. That motion is approved unanimously. Now, are we going to have Mr. Sylvia come down and talk us through, why not? I want my money, man. Well, I want to, I mean, Speedy Weedy stole $3 million from us, did they not, Mr. Sylvia?
No, they actually paid their taxes to us. It was that, they didn't pay the state.
They paid us.
The state shut them down, the CDTFA,
Well, they were delinquent millions of dollars in taxes.
To the state.
to the state.
We got all of our money.
We got our taxes.
We got our money.
Is that because we were auditing them every year?
I don't know.
I wouldn't say the performance of an annual audit created, the motivation for them to pay. I think that what we were really checking on is making sure on an ongoing basis they were charging their customers correctly, and that was confirmed, particularly after the second round of audits for all of the dispensaries.
I appreciate you clearing up my confusion. I knew that they were closed for a delinquency of several $1 million of unpaid revenue, and I thought that some of that was ours. So I'm glad to know that's not the case. So I'll let you please proceed with your presentation.
Thank you. We have looked at our annual fees for the financial audits and compliance inspections. It includes some general management from city staff as well. So we did look at those, made those a little bit more accurate, reduced them a little bit. But the biggest difference is reducing the frequency of the financial audits. Financial audits went up from $6,000 to $10,000 the last round. And so we've done 2 audits with everyone, and everyone has been in compliance. We've just had one, the first round, that had some issues that they have fixed. So at this point, we want to rotate and do a third of the businesses each year, and that way we can divide the cost for them as well. We'll reduce their fee by about half, from just under $20,000 to $10,000 annually. I do want to mention that in addition to having some staff time for inspections, within this amount, we also set aside money through the excess cannabis funds for the Sheriff's Department to do inspections and operations with that. So that does not need to be reflected in this annual fee.
Does that pay for our youth decoy operations?
Correct.
I'm involved with a business organization that gets audited by chance every other year. So we have a 2-year cycle, and in year 1 we flip a coin, and the coin toss determines whether we're audited in year 1. If we're not audited in year 1, then we're absolutely audited in year 2. But in every year, we have a chance, and we don't know which of the 2 years it's going to be that we're going to be audited. So in that way, we reduce the audit costs, but we also create that you never know what year you're going to get audited. So there's a lot of cash-based businesses that, I mean, if you've ever had any experience with cash-based businesses, I know all of our operators pay all their taxes, and they would never have any misstatement of cash revenues. However, this is not always the case, and these businesses do get bought and sold, and the revenues to the city were a critical argument that compelled the city electorate to approve this, and I just think it's really important. So if we want to reduce the fees, I'm okay with that. If we want to reduce the number of audits, I'm okay with that. But I would suggest we devise an element of chance-based system where people are always wondering if this is the year that they're going to be audited, because when you're watching people and there's a random chance of audit, it really improves accuracy for some reason. I'm not sure why. Okay, Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, and thanks for bringing that forward. I think the 3-year rotating basis, I like that because kind of like, Mayor Franklin said, you don't know which year is your year, and I don't think that we're going to call them all out and be like, hey, out of the 10 of you, you 3 are in year 1, you 3 are in year 2, kind of how it works. So I'm okay with that. The other reason why I'm okay with this is that we've been auditing them every year for the past 5 years, and in those 5 years, we haven't found really a lot of issues, a lot of staff time. Additionally, these businesses are, in some cases, are paying between, $60,000 to $120,000 per month in taxes. All 10 of these businesses in our city are in our top 100 tax revenue producing businesses within our town. So they are great businesses. You have people come in and talking about how they're, not good businesses, and I kind of like to dispel that. So I feel like they have been great businesses. They've been audited and basically chastised and scrutinized more than any other business. When it comes to the revenue they're generating, I know the citizens weren't thinking that we're going to be making tons of money off of the auditing fees. Technically, the fees they're paying to audit are just for services rendered, so we're not really producing fees for citizens, so I'm not taking any money away from citizens. I'm basically just showing businesses that have been in our community and been audited for the last 5 years that, hey, we want to lighten your burden a little bit. We understand that we've pretty much doubled the fee since it started, and if we put it on a staggered basis, it might have a better effect on you financially and, allow you to do better business and be better for our community. So I'm definitely okay with the new proposed audit system. I did have a question as far as how it's going to be determined. Is it like a lottery or something, or do we just go over who we determine last? And the other question I have, which the mayor brought forward, is there a way to throw in here in the event the business is transferred? So he talked about it being sold. If it's transferred, even if it was audited last year, you're immediately audited the first year you're in business. So that your new businesses, your first year should always be audited, even if they were audited the year before and they're on a 3-year rotation. I just feel like we should have something like that because the new business owners shouldn't get a 2-year break on an audit just because it was randomly audited before, because I feel like that's where you get into the, cash thing type deal. And I don't know if there's a way to add that to this, but saying, hey, if it's transferred, we're auditing you year 1. Is there a way to add that to this, or do you have to actually rewrite the public hearing?
No. Well, I think it would be okay because we're still talking about a third of the people, random choice.
Yeah.
So I think you could still, in requiring that, work that in. We would not charge them. The point we wanted to make is that if they had a significant finding, we're going to do an audit the next year, and they're going to pay the full $10,000. Actually, it's like $10,219 to include some staff time.
Yeah.
But so in that case, we could internally make that decision that we're going to swap someone out, but we still don't want people going more than 3 years without a.
Of course. I just want to make sure, maybe 1 year we have to do, because we currently have 10 dispensaries, so we have to do 4 1 year and 3 the other years anyways. If a business is sold or whatever and we have to do 4 2 years, we're going to do 12 audits, because even though there's 10 businesses, I just want to make sure that we have the capacity as a staff to audit a new business coming in, that's all. So even though they're the same name and it was sold, I really think these ones are kind of getting the benefit of it as, hey, we've been here for 5 years, we've been good stewards of your municipality's laws, that's why we deserve it. So the transfers,
Yeah, that level of specificity hadn't really been discussed, but we can certainly, incorporate a level of randomness. And then as the city clerk said, if there are material findings, someone's going to get audited the very next year and paid.
Yeah, I like that, and I just really think that the transfer of business is a big thing. So the specificity, but more the transfer of the business. Thank you.
Councilmember Contreras.
Yeah, this is a great discussion. I support Councilmember Green and Mayor Franklin if a business is transferred, I really do think that we should take a look at it. And seeing as that this fee is going to apply to all businesses, so that's going to include future businesses that may go online, like lounges or any of the potential additional licenses that go through Cannabis Social Equity. So we need to keep that in mind too, because we don't want to have such a huge burden on business. Not every cannabis business is going to be like making all this money for the city. Some of it might be a little bit more, boutique. So I think we need to keep that in mind. And I think actually for folks that are going to receive licenses as part of social equity, we may have to revisit the fee structure for that. So I just want to plant that seed now. But yeah, other than that, I'm good with it.
Just to clarify, these audits, they're like an observational audit. We go in for a week and we manually record all their transactions, and we get a baseline for their transaction volume, and then we compare that to their revenues for the year.
So we contract with HCL to do it, and they collect all of the documents from the businesses, and then they get access to their point of sales systems and their metric, and they compare all of those things together.
Are they not doing the observational part of the audit?
They're not on site at their business, no.
That's super important. That's how the BOE, that's how the CDTFA does it. If they don't think you're collecting your sales taxes correctly, they put somebody in your business and they watch for 2 weeks. They write down every transaction. So they find out over a period of 2 weeks what your average ticket is and what your transaction volume is. They know what your revenue is for the year. And they know whether or not they're being screwed on the sales taxes or not. It's exactly how they do it. I thought we were doing that observational audit. It is essential to understand, based on an observational audit, it is essential to understand the actual revenues. And that's the only way in a cash business to actually have an understanding of what the actual revenues are. It's the only way to know, which is why that's what all the sales taxing authorities do. Let's see, Councilmember, I think I got my buttons out of order here, but are you next? Okay, Councilmember Green.
I just wanted to kind of speak to that as far as the Department of Cannabis Control and also our city staff. I know that they do walk through the dispensaries and look at them regularly, make sure that they have the proper amount of video monitoring software, that their video monitoring software is secured and things. And to your point, the Board of Equalization, also the Department of Cannabis Control, requires a camera over every single checkout stand at every single dispensary to monitor every single transaction. So in the event there are different discrepancies in profits and proceeds, this is how they enforce the track and trace system. And everybody's worried about, hey, they're going to be, selling to underage people. Do this. Every single transaction is literally video recorded at the dispensary, so you can't go in there without getting video recorded. And in the end, your ID is matched up with you. It's scanned, and in order to leave the dispensary after you check in, there has to be a trace of your transaction, what you purchased. So it's very tracked. It's a lot different than a cash business like a liquor store or something like that. The Department of Cannabis Control and also the city has made sure that we have enough monitoring devices in these establishments to make sure that the cash that's being received is being tracked and traced. Every single product that comes in these dispensaries is tracked from seed to sale. And that is law in the state of California. It has to generate taxes, has to generate revenue, and it is all easily tracked. That's why when it comes to the auditing process, it can all be done electronically because it comes from a seed to sale source, and it's all in a system, it's all automated. It's not like we need somebody to look over because there's actually constant video monitoring 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So the technology that is in this industry and the oversight and monitoring is a lot more tedious than any other industry that's out there right now because of the complexity of it and the stigma that they're trying to break. So just want to make sure you know it's not like they're stashing cash, because they're not. It's all recorded, and the Department of Cannabis Control can look at those videos at any point in time that they like. So there literally is somebody in their video monitoring every day. With that, I would move to close the public hearing, accept staff's recommendation, and move forward. Thank you.
Councilmember Contreras, did you want to be heard again?
I just wanted a second.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to take your word, but I'm going to verify this idea that they're actually watching this stuff.
Trust but verify. Seed to sale. Check it out.
Because there's a lot of cash-based businesses that just break even every year after year. It's terrible. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Okay, that item is approved unanimously. That'll bring us, oh, and we did a close the public hearing on that motion, right? Yes, good. All right, that's the end of PH 8, right? Okay, that'll bring us to discussion item number 1, our fiscal year 2023 and 2024-2025 operating budget mid-cycle update. If any members of the public wish to speak on this item, they may indicate so by using the raise their hand feature, by pressing *9 or submitting a request to speak card. Speakers will be called upon after the presentation, which will be given by Finance Director Mike Sylvia.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening again, Council. Item D1 is a presentation of the city's 2-year operating budget update. The original budget was, a 2-year budget was approved last June of 2023. With me here again this evening is Sarah Taylor, our budget manager, and she'll provide the overview of the requested revenue and expenditure amendments to year 2 of our biennial operating budget.
Thank you. All right. Under the 2-year budget, the city continues to operate on a July 1st through June 30th annual fiscal year, retaining the fiscal control provided by annual budgets. As part of the fiscal control, staff has completed a mid-cycle review and is presenting revised estimates of revenues and expenditures for fiscal year 24-25 to the City Council for approval. The proposed amended budget considers revised revenue estimates and operating expenditures based on the most current information available and input from all departments. And the total of proposed amended fiscal year 2024-25 operating budget for all funds is $199.1 million, an increase of $6.8 million from the original adopted budget. This slide shows the breakdown by expense category and funding type, with the general fund shown in green and the non-general funds shown in blue. And as illustrated on the slide, the general fund or unrestricted monies fund the bulk of the city's expenses, including general government and public safety. The general fund is the primary funding source for essential services for the daily operation of the city, and total revenues are projected to increase by $4.1 million from the original revenue estimates as summarized in the table on the slide. A majority of general fund revenues are derived from 3 sources: property tax, sales tax, and charges for services. Property tax remains relatively stable and is based on information provided by the San Diego County Assessor, and the revised revenue estimates are $2.4 million over the original budget. The increases in this category are primarily related to estimates for the residual redevelopment property tax trust fund, or RPTTF, property tax revenue. While sales tax estimates for fiscal year 24-25 are estimated to decrease $820,000 from the original adopted budget, the revised estimate is actually almost 2% over the revised current year fiscal year 2023-24 budget. Charges for services include development permits, park and recreation program charges, facility rentals, ambulance billings, and other reimbursements related to public safety services. Revenue from charges for services is estimated to increase $1.3 million from the original budget estimate. Other significant revenue changes from the original budget include a decrease of almost $700,000 for the permanent local housing allocation. This original budget was based on previous allocations, and given the variability of this funding source, staff recommends waiting for the notice of actual allocation prior to programming it into the budget. The total proposed amended fiscal year 24-25 operating budget for the general fund is $120.5 million, an increase of almost $4 million over the original adopted budget. Significant increases in the public safety category include $700,000 for facility maintenance improvements at fire stations 2 and 4 to be funded by the redevelopment reserve, increases in training and wellness programs, and increases for the EMT program. In the public works category, significant increases include $200,000 for upgrades and maintenance for park restrooms, $200,000 for integrated pest management program, or IPM, and $150,000 for professional services for construction management. Other significant increases are primarily related to staffing changes, in addition to the 6 new position changes at 6 new positions already added during this current fiscal year. There are 8 recommended personnel changes with this update. 3 new positions, 4 reclassifications, and a salary upgrade for 1 position are recommended. And Exhibit 5 provides a detailed description of all the proposed changes. There are several program areas that require general fund subsidies to continue normal operations that are summarized on the slide. The total general fund subsidy to these programs is anticipated to increase by just under $165,000 for fiscal year 24-25. This next slide summarizes the total operating budget by fund type. The total revised operating budget for expenditures for fiscal year 24-25 for all funds, as mentioned earlier, is $199.1 million, an increase of $6.8 million from the original budget. Significant increases in the internal service category include $1.1 million in deferred maintenance projects that are to be funded by the redevelopment reserve. Exhibit 1, included in the agenda report, provides revised revenue estimates and appropriation detail by fund and by budget unit. And this concludes the mid-cycle update for the operating budget, and staff is available if there are any questions.
Any questions from council? Councilmember Green.
I actually have no questions. I just wanted to thank you for all of your work, Sarah and Mike, in presenting this budget. I'm stoked that we're making more money than we thought. How fantastic. Now that I don't have to charge 15 grand for parking, I see that I'm going to be able to afford it. Thank you so much.
Was that a motion to adopt the council No? Okay. Councilmember Contreras.
Well, I second everything that Councilmember Green says, and I will make a motion to accept. Thank you so much. I know it's not easy to count every dollar and cent, but somehow you do it. And I really appreciate having a really conservative budgeting process, because then we get to have, hopefully we continue, but we have been able to have a really great surprise of, hey, we have more money. What can we do for the community to make it better? So couldn't do that without you all. Thanks.
Deputy Mayor Melendez.
I'll second that. And I have to also just say, I asked the city manager, where can I find some of the smartest people in the city? And he told me they may be in the finance department. So thank you all for your intelligence and your hard work. We all see it. And thank you for keeping us afloat.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to accept staff's recommendation. Please cast your votes. Thank you to our excellent finance staff and all of our excellent staff. Good work on from our city clerk and staff on the cannabis stuff too. Okay, that item is adopted unanimously. That'll bring us to item D2. Street lighting assessment project update. Members of the public wishing to be heard on this item should indicate so at this time. Our Assistant City Manager, Imelda Huerta, will introduce this item.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of the City Council. Tonight, staff will be presenting on the streetlight assessment project. I would like to quickly note that staff did request a few updates that we have not received yet. However, it is my pleasure to introduce our management analyst, Sarah Trench, who will provide the updates that we have received to date.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and council members. Staff is before you today to provide an update on the street lighting assessment project and attempt to answer queries from the previous presentation on the topic. At the May 14th, 2024 City Council meeting, staff presented the findings of the street lighting assessment project. The results of this assessment led to the recommendation to implement a solar pilot program comprised of 12 solar streetlights. 66 additional new light locations were recommended. Staff was directed to start the process with SDG&E to assess whether 45 light fixtures could be added to existing wood poles and start the process of determining whether the final 21 locations can be added to the electrical grid for new concrete poles. Council had specific questions regarding the solar light vendor for the pilot program, Fonroche America, Inc. Fonroche Lighting America, Inc. was found to be the most cost-effective option for the solar street lighting pilot project, with the costs being below the other informal quotes city staff received. Fonroche offers an 8-year full parts and labor warranty. Fonroche uses nickel metal hydride batteries that are known for their ability to store solar power and light output that meets the city's specifications. When determining battery size, Fonroche looks at weather data of the area in which the lights are to be installed and creates a baseline for power based on the city's day of lowest solar output. In short, they look at the city's gloomiest days and build the battery storage size to meet the power needs of the days with the least amount of sunlight. This solves the problem of older solar lights by providing a strong light all night in the middle of winter. Fonroche's product has been proven in extreme hot and cold temperatures, and the solar panels are coated to ensure no cleaning or maintenance is required. Fonroche's solar streetlights are not only climate-friendly for using renewable energy, but their batteries are fully recyclable. Council requested that staff ask for feedback from other municipalities that have worked with Fonroche. We received responses from staff at the cities of Los Angeles, California, Fort Worth, Texas, Vallejo, California, and Topeka, Kansas. All of the respondents spoke of the Fonroche solar streetlights' ease of installation, excellent customer service, long battery life, and strong light output. Many jurisdictions spoke of the cost savings with the solar lights. Fort Worth, Texas estimates that $1 million has been saved in the year that the solar lights have been installed. The city of Los Angeles found the cost of solar to be 1/3 of the cost of traditional streetlights and thus reduced their lighting costs by 2/3. Many jurisdictions also highlighted Fonroche's product, allowing them to be aligned with their climate-friendly programs. Here are a few quotes from the city staff we spoke to. The representative from Fort Worth is quoted as saying, quote, "Fonroche's customer service has been impressive. We receive prompt responses to any issues or questions, additional training provided by Fonroche at no cost to the city, and field assistance when requested," unquote. The representative from Los Angeles is quoted as saying, quote, "Our most recent calculations show that on average, the cost of conventional street lighting is 3 times higher than solar lighting. These costs take into account the labor, equipment, and material needed to install the lights and install new poles," unquote. Council had asked questions regarding the stability and structure of the pole at the last meeting. All of the respondents from other cities told us that the infrastructure and pole strength and stability of the solar lights is the same as any other steel or aluminum street pole. None reported the poles to not meet their city standards and expectations. For high-speed areas, the light poles are designed to crumple or break away to reduce the possibility of serious injury to a driver. The residential poles will be able to withstand a car impact at low speed. During the May 14th meeting, there were questions regarding the ability to retrofit solar lights to existing infrastructure. First, we explored the possibility of adding a solar fixture to a wood pole. All of the solar providers we spoke to expressed concern regarding the difficulties in achieving proper orientation of the solar panel, wiring issues, and poor aesthetics. Wood poles are also not well suited for the additional weight load required for an industrial-grade solar fixture and battery. SDG&E expressed that they currently do not allow the installation of a solar panel or fixture on their wood poles. Solar fixtures on concrete poles are common practice for those jurisdictions who are transitioning to full solar lighting. These retrofits require that the electric fixtures be permanently removed, and each solar fixture is customized to a specific pole. For a new light, the pole would be purchased separately, and the fixtures would be fitted to that specific pole. SDG&E confirmed that if an electrical light were to be decommissioned by installing a solar fixture on a concrete pole, the power source would have to be removed entirely. Lastly, hybrid streetlights were discussed as Council pondered the possibility of installing solar lights and then connecting them back onto the electrical grid sometime in the future. All vendors contacted said that while there may be a possibility of that in theory, it is not offered, nor are they aware of any other companies who offer that service. Many expressed that the cities that implement solar have viewed it as a permanent change and therefore have not needed to then return back to the electrical grid. Staff communicated with and met with SDG&E multiple times after the last council meeting. They provided more information regarding the process and timeline to install a new fixture on a wood pole. SDG&E says that it would take 3 to 6 months to determine if a pole is viable, to add a fixture, and 3 to 6 months to install a new fixture to the pole. With the 45 wood poles we are asking them to assess, they have indicated that it would be better estimated that the assessments themselves will take 6 months to complete. SDG&E confirmed that for a new concrete pole, the location would go through a service point process to ensure there is a power source to the location. A conflict check would need to be completed to determine proper spacing from other infrastructure. While we do not have an estimate for the time it would take to complete a conflict check nor a service point, we have been informed that the planning and construction after those checks, would take approximately 6 to 8 weeks. SDG&E has not yet provided cost estimates to city staff for the installation of a fixture on a wood pole, nor the cost to the city to complete the service point or conflict check. City staff was able to determine that an estimated cost of a new concrete pole would be approximately $21,830 per light. The table represents the comparison between a new concrete electric pole and a new solar street light. A new concrete electric streetlight costs between $20,000 and $60,000, with the cost for 66 new lights ranging from $1,320,000 and $3,960,000. Each electric light costs approximately $122 in maintenance each year, and we estimate the cost of maintenance Each electric light costs approximately $122 in maintenance and electricity costs, and we estimate the cost of maintenance over 15 years for 66 lights to be $120,780. New solar streetlights cost $8,500, with the cost for 66 new lights estimated at $561,000. Estimated maintenance costs are based on 2 batteries over 15 years, which would be approximately $80 per light, with the maintenance cost for 66 lights over 15 years to be $79,200. This concludes our presentation. Staff and representatives from Fonroche Lighting America remain available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Melendez.
Thank you. Do we have any speakers?
I don't believe we do on this item.
Okay. Thank you for coming back with all of our questions answered. To be clear, when we're identifying 66 new lights, is that the remaining number of lights that have been identified for potential new lighting locations that, we had a pilot program we approved last time, and these are the ones remaining?
Yes, so the assessment identified 78 new light locations. Since council had approved the 12, there are 66 new light locations remaining.
Great. I really feel like I got my questions answered from the last time we were here. One, there's clearly a reduced cost if we were to light our streets with solar lighting and these innovative fixtures versus the traditional concrete pole. And that was the big question that I had the last time we met was, do I want to install a traditional solar pole or traditional concrete pole, or do I want to install a new solar pole? And seeing the reduced cost, which includes on this chart 2 batteries that we're anticipating, so I appreciate you being thorough there. And then also how climate friendly it is, and the fact that the batteries are recyclable, the fact that, the cost of the lighting over the long term, knowing that that's going to reduce our energy costs on top of the actual fixtures being a lower cost to the citizens, I think really makes a difference. As far as SDG&E goes, City Attorney, what teeth do we have to ensure that they're being doing their due diligence and making repairs in the public right-of-way?
We would have to look at their franchise fee agreement to see what recourse we might have, but that I would need to take a look at it. Off the top of my head, I don't.
Do you have any suspicions that they're in violation of an agreement with their poor communication?
My guess is yes, but we would have to take a look at to see how the obligations are spelled out in the franchise.
Okay. I feel like our city is being taken advantage of, and that the behavior of SDG&E is indicating that they're happy to not do anything to repair these lights because hopefully, and maybe assuming weakness out of us, that we'll just go ahead and purchase those lights back. But there has to be some sort of standard and agreement. So I would first like to make a motion to give the city attorney direction to pursue accountability with SDG&E. And I would also add to the motion to approve the 66 new solar poles with solar street lighting, because I really do feel like the information here responded to a lot of my concerns, and I feel very confident moving forward with this new technology. Very glad to have such good reports from other cities, and so happy to see the cost saving to the public. So thank you.
Councilmember Contreras.
Yeah, I definitely agree with pursuing accountability. This is just completely unacceptable behavior by SDG&E. However, we have come to find that their behavior is quite unacceptable most of the time. So please, City Attorney, anything that we can do to speed up the process and/or fine them, I'm all in favor of that. I also will second the motion that Deputy Mayor put forward for the solar lights. I really do appreciate getting the additional questions that we had last time answered. I had just wanted to know that these were going to be safe in the event of, we've seen a lot of property damage with vehicles. Hearing, that they're built to a standard is good. But, we have 1.8 million allocated for this, right? So with the amount of streetlights that we're putting in, we're not utilizing that entire balance. So, are we going to add additional lights? Because there's over 100 additional lights that we can add.
Yeah, so I think the intention was to do the solar program, and if that's the direction from council, then we can definitely move forward with additional lighting.
I think we need to move forward with additional lighting, and I will say we have an item coming up in the next agenda, on the agenda, and I've talked to our city manager about this. There's parks that need more lighting, and the solar light is a great way to enhance the public safety in areas that it's very difficult to hook up a traditional light pole. So Linda Rhoads is one of them. I'm sure we can look at different parks, anything from Wildwood to even our downtown, areas of Hacienda, areas also that we see a lot of crime happening where there aren't lights. I think that needs to be mitigated. Would the additional lighting come back to council to look at the locations, or what can we expect with that?
We can definitely bring it back. I mean, typically we would want to bring it back and make sure we're putting them where the council wants.
Sounds good. Yeah, I want to see that. We made a commitment and we fought a lot. This body fought a lot to have of funding for lighting. We do have this commitment to the community that we're going to put $1.8 million of new lights in. And I want to follow through with that commitment. And I think we need a social media post to let folks know that we have additional lights. I want to be able to gather more information from the public than we did with this round to solicit more public input as to where these lights should go. And I think that we need to have a hands-on workshop for the public to join and provide testimony and suggestions. So that way, by the time we see it at the council level, it's already been vetted by the community, and we can make a better decision because, folks are experts at the areas that they live, and I don't live everywhere, so I want to leave it up to the public to provide us a little bit more guidance, but that definitely needs to happen. And if we could add that as a friendly amendment to the motion, I think that would be great. Okay. Awesome. And that's all. Thank you.
Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, and thank you as well, Councilmember Contreras. I love the presentation. I love me some solar lights. Thank you so much, Finalizing Lighting America, for showing up to maybe answer any questions we have. Sounds like you're about to get some more business too. Congratulations on that. I hadn't had a presentation from you in a long time, Sarah, and I'll tell you what. Thank you. This is really informative. I was trying to think of some questions, and just as I thought of them, you put the slide up with the answer right in front of me. So this is a no-brainer to me. I greatly appreciate it. I also definitely support we allocated $1.8 million, how much money for lighting? Good news. That's a lot of lights that we could add. Apparently another 100 within the city. So I love that idea. I love the idea of a social media post. Hey, we're turning on the lights in Vista. Where's the dark corners that you don't want to walk around? Let us light those lights for you, those corners for you in Vista. Something like that to get the word out and have a little workshop, I think, is something that we would definitely support. Maybe we could even have our lighting contractor there to explain their product and how it's going to be. So thank you so much. And let's get this approved and move on to the last discussion item before tacos.
Deputy Mayor Melendez.
So I'll go ahead and amend my motion to not only include directing the city attorney and approving the 66 lights that are here, but for the city of Vista to utilize the remaining $1.8 million that has been committed to lighting for our community in drafting new maps for lights throughout the city to include not just residential, but also business areas and parks, which is something we hadn't quite looked at before. And also that the next phase of lighting allocations with the remaining $1.8 million includes a hands-on workshop where it is perhaps in the community room or an area where residents can, identify locations on a map of where they would like to see lighting. And I think that would cover all of my parts of the motion. So hopefully the seconder supports that.
Councilmember Contreras.
Yes, thank you for writing that down and for adding that to your motion. I 100% agree and stay committed to the second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. That item is approved unanimously. That'll take us to our final discussion item regarding the Linda Rhoads Rec Center. Any members of the public wishing to speak on this item should indicate so by using the raise their hand feature, pressing *9, or submitting a request to speak card. We do have some public speakers. Councilmember Contreras asked for this item to be on the agenda, so we'll ask her to introduce it.
All right, thank you all. So I have been investigating the Linda Rhoads Neighborhood Community Center for quite some time. The public and myself were under the impression that there were a lot more restrictions to utilize both the field and the gym. However, I wasn't really satisfied with the answers that I was receiving, and I do appreciate Mr. Rob Anderson and Mr. Pacheco, and our city attorney, Walter, and our city manager, John, helping me kind of break open what this grant really, the parameters it set forth, because, too many times we were hearing, no, we can't do this, we can't do that, and I just continue to see this neighborhood asset completely underutilized. And I've had many folks come before not only this council, but speaking to me privately about what they would like to see happen at the Rhoads Center. Everything from, can we have classes in conjunction with the county and the sheriff's department for helping folks understand emergency response and CPR, to, hey, can we do boxing here, to, hey, can we do basketball and skills training here? And I hate having to go to folks and tell them no, and then just continue to see this sit idle. So upon investigation, it does seem that there is a lot of leeway that we have to program the Rhoads Center. And, I know we had different programming. COVID happened and turned into a vaccination and testing site. And now that we've moved past that difficult time in our community, there is no better time than now to really start activating this. In particular, because here in the city of Vista, what we do see, it's an alarming trend of youth delinquency. And anything that we can do to address that now is going to really save some folks from a lot of hardship that they may encounter in their own personal lives, and it will save the taxpayers money, and it will save our community just becoming, having folks that are really good residents that want to give back. I know, folks in my family, had they had certain programs that they could access, they probably would have been in a different position than they are now. Unfortunately, some of them have passed away because of gang violence, and others are incarcerated, and I don't want to see that continue to happen in our community. So that's why I wanted to bring this forward. I discovered that there is more leeway. I wanted to ensure that my council, my full council, understood that we have the ability to attract more utilization here. My preference would be, because this is something new, that we would contract with nonprofits that want to provide different programs for our youth. It'd be great if there's nonprofits that even want to do that at zero charge. And I do want to hear from the public, but I just want to, before I turn the mic over, I want to say that we do have $85,000 that's supposed to be allocated to programming the Rhoads Neighborhood Center. And this is for the next fiscal year, right? So that begins July 1st. And I have some additional questions, but I'll go ahead and leave it there. I would love to hear from the public if there are any public speakers. Thank you.
We have Lakeista Cooks here to speak, and then we have a caller on Zoom after that.
Go ahead.
Hi there.
Hello, everybody. My name is LaQuisha Cooks. So basically, in use of the Rhoads Center, I propose Hoops House, which is a comprehensive youth development program designed to nurture student athletes holistically. Our mission is to create a supportive environment where young athletes can excel not only in basketball, while focusing on their academic achievements and personal growth. The program is an intensive basketball training, academic support tailored to individuals' needs, and life skills workshops that cover a different range of topics from financial literacy to health and wellness. These components are integrated to ensure an all-around development for our participants, preparing them for success both on and off the court. the statement of need, there is a pressing need for a holistic youth development program here in Vista, California. The target youth population, ranging from 10 to 18 years old, face challenges like mental exhaustion, anxiety, and depression, often by the high levels of stress from competition and performance pressure in sports. Hoops House aims to address these challenges by providing a balanced program focusing on athletic, academic, and personal development. Some of the different activities includes various activities for basketball training, academic tutoring, and life skills workshops. Within this, myself, it is founded by a group of veterans. I have a bunch of different veterans to include myself. On the team, I did 13 years in the Navy. I have my master's degree in sports science. Sandy, which is here, she's a master athletic trainer. I also have someone on my team who have a teaching certification, a financial analyst, and also a data analyst. So I have a lot of people there to support this adventure. In conclusion, Hoops House represents a significant opportunity to positively impact the youth of Vista, offering them tools and support needed for success in sports, academics, and life. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Now we'll go to our caller on Zoom.
Hello, my name is Rudy Moreno. I am a proud Vista resident. I'm also the head coach of the Vista Boxing, where we create not only champions in the ring, but outside the ring as well. I've spoken on this topic before on the Linda Rhoads facility on the underutilization. We have a $5 million recreation center that was open in an underserved neighborhood, but it's not being served. You know, we can ask ourselves, what is a recreation center? You know, to me, a recreation center is a building that is open to the public, where meetings are held, sports are played, and there are activities available for both the young and the old. I keep researching Linda Rhoads to see just what pops up, and I actually found a flyer that says SD Nights in Vista, location, Linda Rhoads Rec Center. The date was December 15th, 2018. The time, 4 p.m. through 8 p.m. SD Nights is a part of the County of San Diego Department of Parks and Recreation strategy to engage, equip, and empower the youth in San Diego. SD Nights provides youth with a safe destination and provides interactive programs filled with free games, activities, sports skills, mentorship, career and education planning, and employment opportunities. It's a community involvement with food and so much more. You know, I read this and I was like, what happened? You know, where have we failed our community in District 1 with being able to provide, you know, such programs such as this SD Nights in Vista? That's all I got. Thank you very much, Council, for your time.
Thank you. Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, and thank you so much, Councilmember Contreras, for bringing this forward. As you know, I grew up in this town, and actually on East Los Angeles Street, which is now Townside Drive, and we even have Luz Duran Park when I was a kid. Raintree Park was my park of choice, and it wasn't much of a park. So everything you guys have done over there has really helped improve the community. District 1 is one of the most communities, the most underserved communities in the town, and it's in dire need of more community services and community events and really community members in general that want to mentor that community and be engaged with them. I know that as a council, we allocated funding to repurpose the Boys and Girls Club there for Universidad Popular. I think I said that right too. That was my Hispanic my wife, she makes me speak like that when I speak Spanish. But I think that that's going to be a great program for tutoring kids and kind of bringing the community back together, helping parents be more engaged in their schools and things like that. I'm really excited about the repurposing of the Luz Duran Community Center, because ever since I've been on council, I've been trying to get that to be a community center, and up until time Karina came on here and started banging heads, banging doors, we didn't really make a lot of progress. So I'm really stoked that that's going to be a community center. What I'd like to see with the Linda Rhoads Center is exactly what Councilmember Contreras wants, is a community center that's open, that's available, that's accessible to the community to use for what they'd like. I think that it's going to require some community meetings. I think if we're going to be spending $85,000 on on something, we should probably do a RFP, let people know, hey, there's $85,000 out there. For now, though, in order to get it, kind of programmed right away, if there really is an organization like Hoops House that's just like, hey, we'll hold it open all summer between 5 and 9, and you give us, 10 grand for the whole summer, and we'll make sure it's opened up and locked out, and we have liability insurance, and, people can come in and do their homework, and we have, stuff like that. I mean, allocating a little bit of funding so that there is a resource for the community for the summer, which for those of you who don't have kids in school, this was the first week of summer. My son's been in bed till 1 o'clock every day because he ain't doing nothing. And then he hops on his computer, sits around. And there's a lot of kids that are doing that because they have no option. District 1 is a high densified community. There's not a lot of green space, and there's not a lot of room for these people who live in apartments with no yards to really play. And having a field like that and having the Rhoads Center, knowing that it's actually a city resource. I've been elected on this council since 2016. That's 8 years. For 6.5, almost 7 years, I've been told that's a county building. I can't program it. I can't use it because of the grants that were tied to it, that we have to go through the county for everything. And to find out that that's not really the case, you had a caller talk about hey, did we let you down since 2018? No, the SD Nights was probably programmed by the county because we were always under the impression as a council that it wasn't been used, and it wasn't really anything we pressed hard for because we just assumed that what we were being told was correct. So asking these hard questions and really pounding on the county and, having our Parks and Rec department do it and our new city manager and our new city attorney really dig into how can we make this a resource for the community? This is huge. So for me, I'd like to defer to Councilwoman Contreras to kind of figure out what her idea is with Hoop House. I'm obviously not here to give anybody $85,000 free money without having an RFP and telling other people, but I think opening this up as a community resource for at least the summertime for the next few months while we figure out what we're gonna do with this is a great idea. And maybe that doesn't require the type of programming that this particular organization has, but if they can take the liability on of opening it up and closing it down and insuring it when they're actually operating that facility, that takes a lot of liability off of us. It provides a resource to the community, and it doesn't cost us a dang thing, except for whatever the light bills are. But SDG&E is charging us a heck of a lot of money anyways and not working with us. So it is what it is, man. Eventually, it'll hopefully be solar powered. But for now, how can we make this a resource for the community? And it's a little kid that went to Santa Fe Elementary School, which is now VAPA, okay? Used to be Santa Fe Elementary. I was a chief and then a road runner. That's right. I would have been so stoked to have a place to dribble a basketball on a hardwood floor or to kick a ball in the grass. We didn't even have any fields, no soccer fields, no baseball fields, no basketball courts. There was literally nothing over there in the early 80s. Yeah, I'm old. But over the last 40 years, we've done a lot. And I feel like these are resources for the community. So as far as I'm concerned, Councilwoman Contreras, you tug on my heartstrings, I'm a little poor kid growing up in that area with no resources. And to think that I have a city that wants to take care of me, wants to provide programming for me, and wants to provide a place where I can be safe and I can steer away from, the elements in that area. I got my teeth kicked out in the 2nd grade walking home from school on East Los Angeles Street by 4 dudes. That's the neighborhood you're in there. So I will make sure there are other paths people can choose, and having great recreational opportunities provided by the city and your council is going to be life-changing for the community. So as long as you're not asking me for a bunch of money, Councilwoman Contreras, and you're going to provide a good resource for my community, I think I support you 5,000,000%. Thank you so much.
Councilmember Contreras.
Awesome. I appreciate that, Councilmember Green. The good news is that I'm not going to ask for anything more than the $85,000 that's programmed. I want every last penny of that $85,000 though. And I did review this. What we can do, and actually just what you said, it's an RFP. But I forget the name of it. It's some kind of a contract. Can someone remind me what it is? It's like an RFP that we're going to do
Contract constructor agreement would be the case for this, and it'd be an ongoing RFP. We can get an RFP out very quickly, so there won't be a lot of downtime. We do RFPs quite often in our department, and we can get this out on the street, have a ongoing, RFP. Other cities do an ongoing RFP for contract instructors. This will be a little different because it would not have a monetary value since they're not doing a split where they would collect fees. But yeah, we could definitely do that.
Yeah, I think, so seeing that the program money doesn't start until July 1st, but we can get the contractor RFP out as soon as possible, right? We don't have to wait till July.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see us getting it done. We have money still remaining the rest of this year, but it does take a little time to get RFP and agreement signed, so it would be tricky to get it done by, but July 1st we have new money. That's a good time frame.
Okay, and how much money do we have left in the bank that for this fiscal year that we're in?
It's about half, about 45-ish. Yeah, 42.
Okay. What I would like to do is one, I think for nonprofits that are going to be providing a community benefit by utilizing the space and maybe doing, no cost, perhaps some of the funding that we have can go even towards indemnifying them so that they don't have to incur additional costs. I'm not sure how the council feels about that. But Councilmember Green brought up a point, like, should we provide monetary compensation to some of these nonprofits? And I think that's something that I would be in favor of. I don't know how much that would be, right? I don't know what the structure would be. So I'm wondering if this might need to come back to council and staff take a look at different options since we have to wait anyways. But I want to continue to utilize that 40,000 and then add it to the 85,000 so that we can have a little bit more money to, one, figure this out, and two, get this programmed. So yeah, that's where I'm at there. And potentially, I don't know how quick you all can, would you be able to bring this back on the 25th, or is that too soon? I'm hearing there's no way we can do that.
Yeah, the agenda for the 25th is like in process now,
Okay.
so yeah, I'm sorry.
Are we off in July? Yeah.
Yes. So next meeting after that will be August 13.
And you guys are not going to want a special meeting in July, right? Okay, so okay, I don't want to hold up the process that much. What would it take for us to, do we have a structure where we can, provide monetary compensation to nonprofits as part of the contractor instructor?
Yes, we can do that. A nonprofit can be a contractor and provide instruction. We wouldn't necessarily, though, use our funding to cover their liability or indemnification requirements.
So I think that's a fine trade-off. If the nonprofit wants to have their own certificate of insurance that we would approve, but in turn, we would provide compensation for them providing such a great community benefit, I'm okay with that. And I don't need to dictate to you all how to do that. It sounds like staff already has the ability to put this forward and put an RFP contractor instructor process out there without having to come back to council. So I'll go ahead and, would it be better if we have a motion just to codify it, or do you think?
And if the city manager wants it, that's fine, but I think we have the direction. I think we have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine just providing direction. It looks like there's a few more comments from other council members, but this is a long time coming, and I really appreciate, I know that it can be, very intense in my question asking, but I really did feel that there was a lot more that we could do with this facility than we were previously doing, and I'm glad that we've gotten to this point where, hey, we can figure this out and create a lot more benefit for the community who as Councilmember Green said, this community really needs it. This part of Vista really needs to have a lot more character development and leadership development opportunities. And believe it or not, the kids are hungry for it. Their parents are hungry for it. They just don't know where to turn. And having something that's zero to low cost for them is a game changer. A lot of folks cannot afford recreational sports, and above that, they can't afford things that are competitive sports. It's super expensive, but they should not be left out of the equation because they have so much talent that they're going to bring to this community, and they don't have to wait to be great here in Vista, and we're going to keep that promise to them. So that's the direction I will provide. And thank you again for staying through this long meeting. And thank you, Rudy, for calling in. And thank you to my council.
Deputy Mayor Melendez.
Thank you. I had availed myself to second a motion if Councilmember Contreras made a motion, but I'll add to the consensus to say that let's open up our facilities. And anytime we have these sort of bureaucratic blockades that restrict spaces paid for by the taxpayer, that is unacceptable. And so I'm glad that we have a council and we have a city staff and administration that's willing to resolve any waste and abuse and take back some of our public spaces to be used for by the public. So I support opening up the facilities and programming them with nonprofit.
Councilmember Green.
All right, curveball, Joe Green, you ready? So I love the idea of contract, RFP or whatever. And I also love the idea of you telling us that we have $45,000 we didn't spend this year on recreational programs that expires on the 30th of June. Luckily, we're going to tell you we want to reallocate that so that next year our budget isn't $85,000, it's going to be $130,000, because in my opinion, we should have spent that $45,000 this year on some type of beautiful recreational program that we didn't. So I like that idea. My question is, though, is instead of waiting till August to get the RFP out, since we have already allocated $45,000, can we spend that? If there's a way, like we already have $45,000, and I think maybe my council member might have even wanted to make this motion had she known, we have $45,000 we're supposed to spend before the end of June right here on recreational programs. I'd like this to be open for the summertime for the people, and I don't want to wait till August, because guess what August is? Not summertime anymore. Yes, city manager?
We can get the RFP out ASAP. We can use the $45,000 and roll it into next year's budget. If the council's okay, we normally wouldn't do that, but if that's what council wants,
I don't want to sweep it into surplus spending, because I think if it was allocated for the kids, it should stay for the kids.
But we'll get it out, and we'll find a nonprofit or a business that's interested in responding, and we can get the programming going before August.
Okay, so it doesn't have to come back to council before we can spend money to get it open. That's all I wanted to make sure we were good with, because I didn't want to have to wait to be like, yeah, we got more money, but we're going to still wait. So yeah, I'm hoping something can happen right away with this establishment. So like next Monday or Tuesday. I'm just saying. Thank you so much, Mr. City Manager, for clarifying. Thank you guys as well for really digging into this, because this is literally going to change people's lives. Like, somebody could practice 150 free throws every day over there. When you shoot 150 free throws, come on, right? Let's go. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate you.
Councilmember Contreras.
Yes, Councilmember Green, thank you for speaking up on that. That is definitely something I didn't want to have to wait, and then we have this whole recess and whatever. So we are definitely going to use every single penny of this fiscal year and next fiscal year to program this for our youth. It is such a huge need. So thank you for being an advocate for our youth. And again, I just appreciate this council so much. I know we get into different fights, but this is just some common ground between us all, that we want to have higher utilization of our recreational spaces. That's why we committed to a Parks Master Plan. But guess what? We don't have to wait for that, because now we found out that there's a lot more leeway with the Rhoads Center and the field. And hopefully I can get some solar lights over there because it's a little dark. But yes, and this is another thing. I think we need another social media campaign to let the nonprofits know that we're going to have this contractor instructor RFP go out, because we definitely want to see, everything from sports to academics programmed at the Linda Rhoads Center. So thank you all.
Okay, and we didn't have any more oral communication speakers. So that'll bring us to staff comments. Does our Deputy City Clerk have any comments? City Clerk? City Attorney? City Manager?
I got a couple. The city's e-bike safety training workshops continue this month with a virtual workshop on June 15th and an in-person workshop on June 22nd. All participants receive a free bike helmet. For more information, please visit ridesafevista.com. On Monday, June 17th, the Clean Energy Alliance will be hosting a town hall meeting for Spanish speakers here at the Morris B. Vance Community Room at 6 p.m. CEA's member, city residents, and businesses are welcome to attend, learn about CEA, and pose questions. That will be for Spanish speakers. The Wave Water Park's now open throughout the week, in addition to weekends through August. This Sunday, dads are free for Father's Day when they purchase an accompanying pass. Visit thewavewaterpark.com. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. For Councilmember O'Donnell, a town hall is being held on June 30th here at the Morris B. Vance Community Room. It'll start at 12:30 p.m. to discuss Green Oak Ranch, and I've been told that Supervisor Desmond will be in attendance for that. And lastly, I want to wish a happy birthday to Jay Banks, who came in on his birthday today to run our AV system, who's back there behind the glass. So happy birthday, Jay. Good job, buddy. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember O'Donnell. You want to thank your wife for allowing you to serve? Yeah? Just give a thumbs up for that. Councilmember Contreras.
Awesome. Let me see. We just had a board forward at NCTD, also known as a board retreat. However, we're not retreating from anywhere or anything, which is why it was called board forward. Our chair is awesome. She came up with that little gem, and her name is Jewel Edson. So it's wonderful. But I do want to say that I am not wanting to wait so long to have a micro transit. It's called NCTD Plus. But if you do want to check out, NCTD Plus is launching. It launched today in the city of San Marcos, and we're next in line. We're just going to have to wait till their pilot is done. But this is going to be a great way to connect folks within a geofenced area, right? It's like a 10-mile radius. And I think that this is a great service that, I'm hoping will bring a little bit more connectivity to Vistans. Outside of that, I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Tomorrow, Guerreras en Acción por un Vista Limpio, headed by team captain Jovita Serafin. It's Wednesday, so they're doing their trash pickup like they do every single Wednesday. If you want to connect with them, you can follow them on Instagram, or you can connect with me, and I will connect you with Jovita. And I hope everybody has a great rest of their night.
Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councilmember Contreras, for reminding me. Actually, tomorrow at 8 a.m., if you want to be on our social media, we got our film crew coming down to film Jovita and Guerreras en Acción por un Limpio Vista. That's right. I said it right. I had to say that so many times on our video, which I'm looking forward to putting that out. First thing, happy birthday, Jay Banks. What up, my man? Happy birthday. I'll take you golfing, and you can let me win again. I really appreciate that. I want to thank my sheriff's deputies, particular Deputy Roth. You're here all the time, man, and you're always smiling back there and keeping us safe, and I just really appreciate that. And to our new deputy, first time in council chambers, you're getting off early tonight, buddy. Congratulations to you. Know that I'm going to need you to buckle up for a little bit longer meeting moving forward, but tonight was good for you. Also want to be clear, although I did approve some speed humps tonight, I want to be clear that I do not like all speed humps, but the Mercantile speed humps are clearly make sense speed mitigation speed humps. The two in front of the stop sign at Alta Vista and Vale Terrace. Miss me with those 2 speed bumps. So that's that. Also, smartest people on staff, in my opinion, they're in the engineering department. Have you seen the plaid shirts these engineers wear? I mean, these guys are brilliant, okay? They do right-of-way, setbacks, environmental mitigation. So Greg Mayer and Joe Vaca, Mike Ressler, Patsy Chow, whole crew in engineering, you blow my mind with your knowledge. So wanted to throw that out there. And last but certainly not least, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And also more than anything, happy Father's Day to the dads out there. Anybody can be a father, but to have a dad that actually loves you and shows up and stays there and is there, and all the moms filling in for Father's Day that don't have men in their house, thank you. Thank you for being there and treating your family like they matter, because a lot of us didn't have dads growing up. So happy Father's Day, and sitting next to some good fathers on this and some amazing people who I know are making a difference in everybody's lives. So thank you for that. Have a great rest of your night. Oh, and I love Jennifer Green, and Allie, thanks for letting Dan serve. He loves you, just not as much as I love my wife. Thank you, man.
Deputy Mayor Melendez.
Wow, we're opening a can of worms when we actually have to consider all the smart people who work for the city of Vista, because there's a lot of maths going on and a lot of critical thinking going on and a lot of courage going on. So it's really hard to say. We have a lot of brilliant people working for the city. Great to get a lot of work done tonight. A couple upcoming items. I don't have much to share. I know that we're not going to be meeting before the 22nd, so I just want to highlight the weekend of Saturday the 22nd and Sunday the 23rd will be the Scottish Highland Games happening at Bringle Terrace Park. And, if you got a clan, come join and come, check out the food and the fairs and just be part of that community. It's really beautiful seeing all the work that they do with the sheep and the husbandry. It's very impressive. So that's an exciting thing going on this month. But other than that, thanks for great work tonight, and everyone have a good and safe night.
All right, the County of San Diego has launched a new emergency evacuation technology to provide residents with more precise evacuation alerts in an emergency. The Vista Fire Department will utilize the Genesis EVAC technology to provide residents with evacuation information and more efficient repopulation directions so that people can return to their homes sooner. Residents can download the Genesis Protect app. Now, Councilman Green's rushing to do that right now from their preferred app store, or sign up for alerts online. For more information, visit vistanewscenter.com. The city's Free Movies in the Park series launches this Saturday with a favorite movie of mine, The Princess Bride. Seen it many times. I won't quote any lines, don't worry. Yes. Showing at the Buena Vista Ball Fields in Shadow Ridge. Got to bring the kids out if they haven't seen that one. It's a good one. For more information, visit Vista News Center. Thank you for your beautiful words about Father's Day. I would second those. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. And to my beautiful wife, Shauna, thank you for allowing me to serve. I love you. Have a good night, everyone.